You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Namaskar and good morning to all. We all have gathered here today for a rather special interaction with our ex-ITP. School is a place where characters are built, personalities are shaped, and it's a sheer delight to see some of them blossom to their zenith. Confucius said, and I quote, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step," unquote. The curiosity of the present batch can only be imagined as they wait with bated breath to hear their seniors share their after-school journey. Gauging the palpable excitement of the young audience here, I will now proceed to call upon stage Surya Jaya. Surya is a second-year student of law, pursuing BA LLB honors in education and justicing from Maharashtra National Law University, Nagpur. He passed out from ITIL Public School in 2021. He has cleared the CLAT, SLAT, CUET, and LSAT in 2021. Being a first generation in the field of law, he aspires to be a judge. Over to you, Surya.
Hi, good morning. Okay, so I'm a student of law, pursuing BA LLB from National Law University, Nagpur. So a National Law University is basically an IIT in the field of law, because a lot of people do not know what an NLU is. So let's make that clear first. So if you pursue law, there are a lot of things that you need to keep in mind. But before I speak about law, I think I should speak about choosing a career in general, because that is more important. So when we talk about career choices or about anything in life, there's a lot of subjectivity attached to it, because everyone tells you things that they know according to their own limited understanding and knowledge. So everything is majorly a subjective opinion, because an objective criteria does not exist. So everything that I will be speaking is also very subjective according to my limited understanding and knowledge. So whatever you choose, make sure that you take in everything from your friends, your teachers, your parents, and then rationally decide what you have to do. Because in the end, you have to be happy with your decision. So talking about law, what will your journey in law look like? In school, it is very recommended that you take humanities, political science, and legal studies in the field of law, because those subjects will help you orient towards what will come ahead of you. But if you do not take those subjects, if you do not take humanities, you can very well excel in the field of law. It's just that if you take humanities with political science and legal studies, it will help you to understand what will come ahead of you. So after school, you will probably give a law entrance examination. The most famous one is called CLAT, Common Law Admission Test, which opens the doors to 23 national law universities. To study for CLAT, you do not have to worry much. You can do it in 6 months. It's not a big deal. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay, so the session is divided into two parts: choosing a career, and I already told you about a lot of subjectivity and objectivity. Second part is law as a career, which will be now moving on. Thanks. So I told you about this, that there's a lot of subjectivity involved in all these questions as to what you should do. Some people will tell you to take science, some will tell you to take humanities. All of them are correct, because no objective answer exists. So take in everything from everywhere and then decide what you have to do. There is a simple Japanese formula called ikigai. You can watch a quick 4 or 5 minute video about it on YouTube to see what suits best for you, because you have to fulfill every criteria to be happy in your life, because what you choose right now will decide the next 40 years of your life. Okay, so here I stopped on the podium. So if you take humanities, it will help you definitely. If you do not take humanities, you can still do law. It's very much possible. For admissions after school, you will probably take a law entrance exam. The most famous one is called CLAT. It opens doors to 23 NLUs. NLUs provide a 5 year law degree. Now, there are two types of law degrees. One is a 3 year course, one is a 5 year course. You can do a 3 year course only after graduating. That means you have to first do a 3 year degree in some other field and then do a 3 year law degree. So that will be 6 years. If you want to do law right after school, right after class 12, you have to do a 5 year law degree, which is an integrated course. Like I'm doing the BA LLB course, so it's BA plus LLB, a 5 year course. Other law entrances include ALED for NLU Delhi, LSAT for most of the private universities, SLAT for Symbiosis Law School, CUET for Christ University, JMI for Jamia Yugoslavia. All these entrances are for 5 year law degree. The Delhi University only has a 3 year course. So if you want to study from DU, you have to first do a 3 year course in some other field. How is life in law school? It's very competitive, obviously, because everyone wants to get ahead of you. There is a lot of camaraderie as well, but it's very, very competitive, and you always have to work to come out on top. Also, it is expensive. Legal education from an NLU will cost you about 15 lakh in 5 years. And money is an important subject, so you need to keep that in mind. It's also a lot about research and publishing. So you research, you read a lot, newspapers, articles, journals, judgments, etc. So it's a lot of research, and every day I'm learning something new. Some competitions, some popular activities in law school include moot court competitions, which is basically a simulation of a real court, wherein you are given a case and you're supposed to argue as an advocate. Parliamentary debates, basically an advanced version of an MUN. A client consultation, mediation, and negotiation competitions, which are ADR, dispute resolution mechanisms, which you would study in legal studies in, I think, class 12. So there's a lot of activities to do in law school. It's not that you only have to study. All these activities are very fun to do. And it's not that you have to be an extrovert to excel in law. I personally am an introvert. I do not speak much. That is absolutely fine. Yes. You do not have to speak a lot to be to excel in the field of law. So after graduation, you will probably want to keep in check that your CV is correct for placements in firms and in-house councils. And you'll probably take exams for higher judiciary as well. And you can also go for higher education. Life after law school, irrespective of what career you choose, is mostly about reading and learning new things, because reading never stops in law. Reading can be anything: judgments, news, research papers, etc. Also, you might be worried about money, because sometimes you will feel like you do not have a lot of money, irrespective of the career you choose. Sometimes you will feel you have a lot of money, but not enough time to spend it. Working hours and stress. See, if you're an advocate uh, and you're every day dealing with cases of murder or rape, it will probably affect your mental health, because every day you're hearing cases of rape, murder, etc. So that affects your mental health. And you have to keep that in mind, that reality is that rape happens, that murders happen, crime happens. So you have to accept it. Working hours can be flexible, cannot be flexible. If you're in a law firm, you probably have to work 15, 16 hours a day. That is very normal. If you are a judge, working hours are 10 to 4. So working hours depend on what you choose to do after law. Also, law becomes very interesting because of new emerging areas such as civil aviation. Now, if you want to study aviation law, you first have to study aviation in itself. How do planes function? How do airports function? After that, only you can study the law that governs it. So that way, it becomes very interesting because you study about every subject: environment law, telecom law, energy law. You first have to study about these areas in isolation, and then the law that governs them. So that way, it is very interesting as you learn about everything. Now, coming to the exact career options in law, I have divided them into advocacy related and non advocacy related. There is no proper justification or demarcation done by institutes or professionals. It's just my way of explaining this. Uh, the most obvious one is litigation. Litigation means being an advocate and representing a client in a court of law. Working hours include 10 to 5 standard working hours because the court hours are 10 to 5, at least in Delhi. But advocates usually work 24 hours a day. They respond of clients, they draft applications, they file them. Next is a state prosecutor, basically an advocate who represents the state. State meaning the government of India or the government of Delhi. For becoming a state prosecutor, you need to give a UPSC level examination, which enables you to become a public prosecutor, PP in short, or an additional public prosecutor, APP in short. So basically, you take up cases by the state. You might have heard that there are cases which sound like state versus XYZ. So state is the prosecutor there, and the PP represents the state. Become a PP, you need to give a UPSC examination. Next is an in-house counsel in a public sector undertaking or a private company. An in-house counsel means that every company, be it a government company or a private company, has its own legal department, such as they have legal departments, finance departments, marketing departments, etc. So people working in the legal department of a company are called in-house counsels. They tell the company what they have to do in their general course of action from a legal point of view. The legal team of a company is usually very limited and they take up very few tasks. And most of the tasks are outsourced to law firms. After in-house counsel, you can become a panel advocate for the government or for a private company. So, for example, if you become a panel advocate for Axis Bank, then you will represent Axis Bank in all the courts of law in Delhi, if you are in the Delhi panel. Similarly, if you are a panel advocate for the District Legal Service Authority, DLSA, then you will represent the DLSA in the courts of Delhi. So basically, a panel advocate represents a company, but is not a representative of a company or not an employee of the company. A panel advocate is on a contractual basis. So an in-house counsel is an employee of the company, permanent employee. Panel advocate is not a permanent employee on a contractual basis. And in-house counsels do not represent in court. They sit in the office inside the company and they work on the paperwork. Then a law firm. A law firm is basically a big company of advocates which represents other companies. So let's say there is a law firm called AZP Partners who represent Vistara Airlines. So if Vistara has a big project to do, they will call AZP and they will take help from there because AZP is a big company of advocates. They have a lot of advocates. Again, law firms do not represent clients in court. They only work in offices. So you'll probably work on paperwork like acquisition, merger, division, dissolution, etc. So I have clubbed them together as advocacy because in all these fields you basically work as an advocate, be it inside a courtroom or outside a courtroom. And law does not mean that you always have to work in a court. Like if you're an in-house counsel or you're working in a law firm, you will probably never go to court. Coming to the non-advocacy career option, the most popular one is judiciary. You become a judge, you give justice to the people. To become a judge, you need to give a state level examination, which is usually conducted by the state's High Court or the Public Service Commission. In Delhi, it is the High Court that conducts the judiciary examination. So the judiciary examination is conducted in three stages. First is the prelims type, wherein you have to take the option ABCD. Second is the mains examination, where you have to actually write the answer. Third is an interview stage. We usually hear that the salary of judges is very less, but that is not the case, at least in Delhi. In the first year of your service, you will earn 1 lakh rupees per month in Delhi. However, if you work in a law firm or any of these advocacy job options, you will not earn 1 lakh rupees in your first year. It will probably range from 50 to 80,000. But promotion in judiciary is very limited. Promotion in these areas goes very quickly. Next is research-oriented jobs. So first option is the judicial clerk. Judges of the High Court and the Supreme Court have a judicial clerk with them. whose job is to research the judgments and other things that the judge wants them to research upon. Because judges also face problems that they need to find answers to, and they do not have the time to research those answers. So they have law clerks to do that. So you'll probably sit on the internet with a computer inside a courtroom, outside a courtroom, and you will research on the areas that the judge has told you to research on. So that is a judicial clerk. That is not a permanent job. That is on a contractual basis for, I think, 2 or 3 years. NGOs, think tanks, and research centers all need researchers. So think tanks like Niti Aayog, research centers like Project 39A, all these work with a team of researchers, and they hire on a permanent basis. So if you're into research, if you like researching on the internet, compiling stuff, paraphrasing, writing research papers, you can take up a research oriented job. Uh, Legal academia is always open. You can become a professor. Become a professor, you need either two things. One is an LLM, which is a master's degree in law, along with UGC NET, or you can do a PhD. If you do a PhD, you do not need to clear the UGC NET. If you become an assistant professor in an NLU, your salary will be around 1.1 to 1.2 lakh per month. So that is a very lucrative job option, but to become a professor, you need to do a lot of hard work. Legal journalism is also there. Legal journalism basically means that you are working in a company, let's say Aaj or let's take a legal company, SCC Online. So if you work in SCC Online, which is a legal research company, you will be an employee of SCC and you will sit inside a courtroom, let's say the Supreme Court of India, in courtroom number 1. And then you will listen to all the cases, you will see the landmark judgments and then report them. So basically, you sit in a courtroom, listen to the judgments or the words of a judge, and you write them in a news article. Also, you can work in the office like editing, publishing, etc. But the primary job of a legal journalist is to sit in the courtroom and report judgment. The Judge Advocate General, JAG officer, is basically an advocate in the Indian Armed Forces because the army law is separate from civilian law and they're governed by their own legal system. So a JAG officer represents the army officer. This is on a short-term commission, which is 8 years. However, it can be converted into a permanent commission later on. To become a JAG officer, you need to clear an examination. Next is the company secretariat. So every company has some key managerial persons. One of the key managerial person is the company secretariat, who manages the legal affairs of the company. He makes sure that all the applications are filled, all the compliances as per the Companies Act are being fulfilled by the company. To become a CS, you have to clear a foundation exam, just like we have CA. CA is a foundational course, right? So CS is also a foundational course. You can do it during your law school. It's not that you have to do it only after graduation. While you're in second or third year, you can clear the CS examination and become a CS in a company. So these are the major career options in law. Apart from this, you also have other standard options like starting a business, going into other fields, going for higher studies. If you go for higher studies, they help you only in research oriented job areas or if you want to become a professor. If you want to start litigation or become a judge or do any of these things which are not very research oriented, then a standard bachelor's degree will work anything. So that is how you go about in the field of law. Are there any questions now?
Less time. Any questions? Just to leave for the court. Any question related to law? How many of y'all want to pursue law after your class 12? How many of y'all? Hands raised. Hands raised. Surya, you are very clear. Questions are clear. Yeah,
there is a question. Ma'am, someone raised the hand.
That's the mic. Yeah. Who wants to argue? Anyone? Class 11? Anybody? No? Yeah, that's fine, please. That's fine. But not my question is, uh, the stream doesn't matter in the field of laws. So, if I heard somewhere that business studies as a subject helps somewhat in company laws.
Okay, so in BST, you're taught company laws, the GST, uh, the Companies Act, Partnership Act, probably. So company law in law school is taught in fourth year. Okay. So when you're coming fourth year and you're taught company law, you'll already have a background what Companies Act basically says, the Partnership Act basically says, the NLP Act basically says. So that will give you a background in the company law area. Okay. And it goes for every field. Let's say if you are pursuing science right now, and you have biology. Later on, you're taught medical jurisprudence. Now, when you're taught medical jurisprudence, you'll already have a background because of biology in medicine, at least a little bit. So that means whatever you study right now in any of the three streams, any of the subjects, that will help you in law school because on every field there is a law.
I also wanted to ask if you can tell me how political science is very helpful in law. Is it helpful?
If you want to become a politician, it is helpful. If you do not want to become a politician, political science teaches you about the legal system of the country, the democratic system of the country, the judicial system of the country, how parliament functions, how judiciary functions. So obviously that helps you in understanding the constitution because everything flows from the constitution. In political science, if you know already how political parties function, how the election commission function, then you can understand those things when you're talking those things in the constitution.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anya. First of all, thank you for the beautiful presentation. I wanted to ask, like you said, in advocacy field, the promotion policy is frequent. So, and you said that in judiciary it's not that frequent. So, is it that in non-advocacy fields also it is not that frequent as compared to the advocacy ones, or it's just for the judiciary?
Actually, it depends on the job profile. See, if you are into litigation, then there is no promotion as such. You're an advocate for the rest of your life. Obviously, you can become a senior advocate and an AOR. That is a different thing, but it's not exactly promotion. Okay, if you are a judge, the junior most judge is called a metropolitan magistrate. After that, you're promoted to an additional sessions judge or an additional district judge. That happens after at least 10 years. Okay. If you are in a law firm, you will probably get a promotion after 2 or 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, not a question. Actually, I just wanted to tell you because you do not Surya was one person, I think, not even a single teacher to whom he has not helped in the school. I think he was almost like an assistant teacher to all of us. All the videos, everything. He's working 15 to 16 hours, but believe me, in school also he was working 15 to 16 hours, which is not easy. Be it annual day, be it any function in the school, Surya was always there for it. Sometimes it was Neela ma'am, sometimes it was me, sometimes Panita ma'am. I think round the clock this guy used to work, and we never found him out of control ever. He never said, "Mujhse ho nahi raha, ma'am. I'm not able to do that." Yeah, I remember at times I had to give a call to his father कि नहीं Surya is required at school and then ma'am आप बात करो. And I remember once I dropped him home also because it was pretty late in school. So Surya, we've always been fond of you, and the motivation to come here today is all because you people are here and such a motivation to see. And Ravni, I'm so floored to see you today. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Surya. And we really miss you. You made our school life so interesting because of your presence, the kind of ownership and leadership you took forward. We really miss you.
Thank you so much, Surya. Tushar Raj Tokas passed out from ITL Public School in the year 2017. He is currently working as assistant. He is currently working as assistant director with Yash Raj Film Studios. An aspiring actor, he is also a theatre and movement practitioner. He practiced his craft at Sri Ram Center of Performing Arts, Delhi, and Jeff Goldberg Studio, Mumbai. He has been part of big banner projects like Ram Setu, starring Akshay Kumar, Jalsa, starring Vidya Balan, Shefali Shah, etc., and is currently working on a project named Fighter, directed by Siddharth Anand, and the cast is Hrithik Roshan and Deepika Padukone. May I also May I also take the liberty of saying that he had history in his class 11th and 12th. Shah, kindly come up on stage.
Hello everyone. Hi, my name is Tushar Raj and I passed out from high school in the year 2017. First of all, I'm here to have a conversation with you guys because I don't think I'm capable enough to guide you or counsel you regarding your career. I'll share my experience when it comes to my career. So if you have any question during the presentation, you can just stand up and ask because this is a conversation, this is not an orientation for me as of now. So I'll start. So, like I said, my name is Tushar Raj, and I passed out from high school in the year 2017. My first experience with theatre came in school during annual day 2016. Before that, I never had the experience of being on stage and acting or theatre. I was playing a character named Sarin Dev. It was probably a 2 minute role, and it changed how I saw things around me. I never knew that I had this potential and I had this love for the craft, and that's when it all started. I moved to Mumbai and I joined a film school named Whistling Woods International to pursue my dream. I wanted to become an actor, and I was doing this course in BSc filmmaking. And later on, I decided to work on my craft. Yeah. Later on, I decided to work on my craft, came back to Delhi. There's this institute named Sri Ram Center of Performing Arts in Delhi. I was there for 1.5 years, practiced my craft, worked on theatre. And then I moved back to Mumbai. I wanted to own skills regarding method acting and joined Jeff Goldberg Studio, where later I was teaching method acting after a year. I was offered the job of assistant teacher and I was teaching method acting to students out there. In 2019, I was offered a job by a production house named Alumni Entertainment. I started working as an executive assistant to producers. I was a part of films called Sherni, Jalsa, Chori. I was working as an executive assistant. Later on, I became assistant director to Abhishek Sharma in the film Ram Setu. And then I did a film called Animal, directed by Sandeep Reddy Vanga, who directed Kabir Singh. It stars Ranbir Kapoor and Anand Kapoor. And recently, I am working on a film called Fighter, directed by Siddharth Anand, as mentioned by Priyanka Mamoli. So I'll tell you about few courses that I did, and I personally recommend you guys because in India, if you don't have much courses when it comes to bachelor degree, you will get universities for your postgrad, but for bachelor degree, there's this one university called Whistling Woods where I went for my filmmaking. But I would not, like, I would suggest you guys to do a lot of short courses instead of spending a lot of time in the college getting your degree because eventually it's your craft. And I mean, yes, of course, degree is important, education is important, but working on your craft is as important as that. I joined Whistling Woods and it's in Mumbai. You get a lot of courses regarding filmmaking, screenwriting, cinematography, editing, all the courses regarding film. There's this postgraduate university called Satyajit Ray Film School in Calcutta, where and there's this another university called FTII Pune. They offer you postgraduate course. There's no bachelor degree. That's why I was saying that you need to do a lot of short courses. You need to find your you need to find your own space in the industry, what you want to explore and what you want to do. So you need to do a lot of short courses regarding that. When it comes to theatre, you have the best institute in Delhi, which is Shriram Center of Performing Arts. You'll get a 1.5 year diploma course. There's no bachelor degree in theatre. India is yet to have that kind of course, and you need to explore more. And there's this National School of Drama, which is again for postgraduate degree. And Kala Academy, you can get a lot of degree courses in Kala Academy, but again, they are like short courses, 1 year, 1.5 year. Theatre and screenwriting are a very different thing. Theatre is more of live performance. There are methods to it. Screen acting is very different. So if you want to become an actor, you need to know what's your space is. It's theatre or screen acting. So you need to learn probably both to become an efficient actor. For screen acting, you could actually join courses in Jeff Goldberg Studio, Mumbai. There's this institute called Barry John Acting Studio, which has a lot of actors from it. Shah Rukh Khan, Sushant Singh Rajput, Varun Dhawan, all are from Barry John Acting Studio. There's this another institute called Actors Prepare, which is owned by Anupam Kher. It has screen acting course as well. So, see, there is no fixed rule. I'm going to share things that I feel about the industry, and you need to explore things in a different perspective. There's no fixed formula of getting a desired result. You can feel like ये course करने के बाद I'll get work, I'll get placement, I'll get better, but there's no fixed formula. You need to focus on your journey rather than reaching the destination. It's a very long process, and until unless you fall in love with the process and enjoy your process, I don't think this will work out for any of you guys. So first, be in love with the craft, be in love with the thing that you're trying to do. You need to put you need to put your heart. It actually means something. You need to put your heart into something that you want to actually do, and you'll find your own way. 1 saal, 2 saal, but you'll find your own way. The field requires you to be rich in experience. The more you experience life, the better you become at your own craft. By this, I mean you need to watch a lot of movies, listen to different kind of music, read a lot of books, travel, explore world, explore life, meet a lot of people. I mean, every individual has a different personality. You can grab whatever you want from that person. So experience life. It will eventually help you in your craft and make you a better artist. Whatever it is, becoming an actor, writer, director, painter, you need to be rich in experience. Whatever you do, have patience. Have patience. Be humble. You can't rush into things. You need to have patience. Things doesn't happen overnight. जो लोग ये बोलते हैं ना ओवरनाइट सक्सेस मिलता है इट्स नॉट ओवरनाइट इट्स लाइक 10 years 15 years of hard work patience and you need to be humble about that. कोई एक दिन में कोई स्टार नहीं बनता है, कोई 10 सालों में भी नहीं बनता है. Just have patience, be humble about what you are doing and you will reach wherever you. And one thing I really believe in this industry, you need to be jack of all trades and master of one. Whatever you do, especially in this industry, you need to learn everything. If you want to become an actor, for me, becoming an actor is a different thing. Being assistant director, I'm trying to learn what happens behind the camera as well, so that when I'm in front of the camera, I know what it takes to make a film. So you need to learn everything. Bits and pieces works good for you. But whatever you are doing, what's your main goal? Just work towards that. सब कुछ करते रहो, but reach towards your destination and focus on that as well. So be jack of all trades and master of one. So that's it from my side. And if you have any questions.
Students, I would just like to add one point over here. All your question answers, please keep on noting them. And then towards the end of the session, you can ask your queries. Surya was in a hurry, so we kept that round for him specially. So as and how your seniors, they come and talk, please note your queries. And then we'll open it up for your queries towards them. Thank you, Tisha. Dhruvi Chandyok. She passed out from school in 2021 and is currently studying BASLP, Bachelor of Audiology and Speech Language Pathology in SRM Medical College, KTR campus, Chennai. She has also completed the following courses: Autism Spectrum Disorder from UC Davis University of California, Hearing Loss in Children from University of Michigan, Psychological First Aid from Johns Hopkins University. Over to Dhruvi.
Hello everybody. I don't know I will be able to do justice or not to the field I am, because it's a very specialized, highly specialized field, and I think most of you don't even know about it. I think most of you don't even think about it, because just tell me one thing. How many of you actually know that allied health professionals in medical field exist? Just a rough number. Allied health professionals, do you know what is it like? Do you know, does it exist also in the medical field? Anybody? Okay, so PCP is much beyond medical, and I am one of the part of it. So yeah, allied health professionals are there are a wide variety of allied health professionals, and the allied health profession I am studying is currently a dual degree, which is audiology and speech language pathology. So in India, for the bachelor's level, you will have to study it as a combined, and for your master's, you can do either speech or audio depending on your focus. So, firstly, what is allied health professional, and what it means, what it is, and why is it different from MBBS? So MBBS will focus more on diagnosing and curing of your disease, but I am a rehabilitation professional. Rehabilitation means I will be making the person habitual of something without any medicines. Okay, so I give therapies to the clients. I will diagnose. When I talk of audiology, I'll be diagnosing vestibular disorders or ENT related disorders, and I will be giving them rehabilitation therapy. When it comes to speech, I'll be dealing with autism children, ADHD children, cerebral palsy, and so many. I would not like to name, otherwise you'll get confused. Okay, what is this? I don't want to scare you. When it comes to allied health professionals, so you can say we are a team of 15 to 20 professionals which work on a person's post recovery. Okay. So when you talk about audiology, major area of focus you are dealing, the population you're dealing is geriatric and pediatric. So the middle age population you get is very rare. It's not rare actually now, so the awareness people are coming, but the major dealing you will have with the geriatric population, which is a 60 plus age group, your pediatric population. For speech, it will be mostly pediatric because adults won't have speech related problems. It will be some post stroke or something else, right? So the adult population will be due to some conditions. Mainly, you will be dealing with the pediatric population, so you have to be very patient, which I was not, but I have been. So this is one thing. Another thing, being in this course, you need to be very passionate and you cannot be introvert. You have to be an extrovert because you are dealing with kids. You are an introvert, you can't give them therapy. You have to make this and you have to make special things. Every day should be a special day for the child when you therapy. So those small efforts you will have to make as a therapist from your side. So coming to the course, bachelor's level, it's called Bachelor's of Audiology and Speech Language Pathology, which is a 4-year degree program, and it is regulated by the Rehabilitation Council of India. Like you have Medical Council of India for MBBS, you have Rehabilitation Council of India for the PSLC and other allied health professionals. So this course will basically cover 3 years of your studying thing and 1 year of your clinical internship. But the best part about this structure of courses, right from your first year, you will get clinical exposure. Right from your first year, going to clinics, you will handle patients, you will observe. Slowly, they'll give you independent cases. So that's the best part. Unlike MBBS, you don't have to wait for a couple of semesters to go and then you're going to see. Right from your first semester, you have clinical framework. So right from the first semester, you will see patients. So that's one thing that excites people who want to, go to the medical field, and you will see patients right from your first semester. So that may be a guiding force throughout. And when you see improvement in your clients, your patients, you will feel happy. So that is one thing. So we basically diagnose, treat, cure hearing impairment, people hearing disorders, vestibular disorders, and all your speech related disorders. So one basic thing why I chose this. So there are about only 5,000 of SLPAs when I talk about audiology and speech language pathologists. In total, we are only 5,000. The population we are catering to is more than 50 million. 5,000 of SLPAs in India and population is more than 15 million. So actually India needs SLPAs and other allied health professionals, which only you, the young generation can make it possible. So we really need, because every one child out of 10 is an autistic or an ADHD child. So they need help. And it is us, allied health professionals, it is the youth and the mindset of people who can make them, the environment in schools and other things, other areas which we can make them comfortable. Also, BSLP is aligned to ENT, so we are very much closely in association with ENT department. So ENT and BSLP goes hand in hand. So the eligibility criteria for this course is so good part is you can take either PCM or PCB, both are acceptable. But you need to have like your fifth subject should be psychology, computer science, or electronics or that. So that's one compulsion. And this year we don't have any age bar. RCI has removed the age bar, so like anybody of any age can join the course. Earlier it was 17 years. Now age bar has been removed, so anybody can join. Coming to how you prepare for your entrance exam. So unlike MBBS, we don't have a centralized system of exam because there are only 50 institutions in the whole India offering this course. And by 50, आधे लोगों को लग रहा होगा बहुत ज़्यादा है, but the intake is only 20 to 30 per institution for the bachelor's level. And only 10 institutions in the whole India is offering the master's program. So you have to be the best of the best to get into the institute. So your exam would basically consist of PCB or PCM. Those are the three areas you should focus on. And it's an MCQ based. So like you're preparing for your NEET, you can prepare for this also. So some of the colleges are listed down here. So All India Institute of Speech and Hearing, Mysore. It's like AIMS or IIT of our course. So this is one. Then comes my college, SRM Medical College, Katamlu. Then is Aliawat Jung National Institute speech and hearing, which is in Bombay. So then SRMC, Chennai, these are the colleges. Every college have their own separate entrance exam. So when if you want to apply for this, you will have to apply separately on each college or university's website. Syllabus and everything may vary a little bit, so you can go to the website and check. But mostly overview is same. So yeah, basically, what are the job opportunities? As I said, it will be like 5,000 of SLPAs on 50 million of population. So you can imagine how much job opportunities are there. You can work as an educational audiologist. You can work as a clinical audiologist. Depends on what setup you want to work in, and there is no compulsion. You can take therapies from your home. You can take teletherapies depending on whatever setup. You don't want to have a nice fancy clinic with all the for audiology. Yes, you will have to have equipments and all. But for speech, you don't want any fancy setup. You can take it right here. One sofa, the patient, you, and some toys. That is it. So for like investment point of view, speech has no investment. But the happiness you will get is to a next level because when you see a child speaking one word after your therapy, the smile that comes on your face can actually beat nothing. I have seen improvement in my patients. I can tell you the happiness you and their parents get is just beyond. It's just beyond words. So yeah, that is one thing you should also, we have 90% attendance criteria. Anybody planning to join this course, be prepared to can't bunk the college because you have 90%. That means only 3 holidays per semester. So be prepared for that and be prepared to work in the worst of conditions because you don't know how well your institution will be or when you go to camps and all. Don't expect to have a nice lavish thing. You will have to work in the worst of conditions and even on holidays. As a medical professional, you will have to work on holidays. We had classes on 26th of January also. So you have to be prepared for that. And yeah, that is all about it. And apart from BSLP, other allied health professionals, if you are interested, it is which is cardiac care technology. You have CPT, which is cardiac perfusion technology. Then you have clinical psychology. Clinical psychology is also a allied health profession. Dietetics is there, nutrition is there, occupational therapy is there, therapy is there. A lot of respiratory therapy is there, therapy is there. So lot of allied health professions. So actually people thinking for taking into medical field or going into medical field, please do think about this also. So it's a new field, emerging field, lot of job opportunities. And I think if you are actually passionate for doing something really good for the society, this is one field that will give you much reward.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Dhruvi. Dhruvi, I think you can be on the stage because, yes. So, as Manna ma'am said, you can ask your questions.
Tushar and Dhruvi.
Yes. Tushar, you can also kindly come up. Thank you.
So anybody wanting to participate? Yeah. Yeah. So my now, my where's the mic here? Loudly, loudly.
To ask the question from you, Mr. Tushar, I actually said parenting as an history. It's a part of the like the destination you are aiming for on the post bar right. What course will you get?
So for me, I mean, you need to, like I mentioned earlier, you need to be rich in experience. And it doesn't come from just real life experience. Culturally, your education, everything matters in that. What you read, how well do you know about your own culture, where you come from, where you belong. So, like ma'am has mentioned earlier, history. History being a very important part of our culture, our lives. You need to know a little about that. अभी नहीं बाद में help you maybe in some project, some film, but everything joins in the end. So whatever you see around you, grab whatever you can. It's not about the subject, it's not about something specific, it's about everything around. So
What are courses about like after your high school got over? What are the courses?
So I did my BSc filmmaking from Whistling Woods. I dropped out from the college. Then I went to Shriram Center Performing Arts. I did my diploma in theatre. And then I went to Jack Goldberg Mumbai studio and I did my method acting course from there.
Your person. Yeah.
Hello, my name is. I have a doubt for you that there are different courses for acting and directing.
Yeah.
And to pursue those courses, do we need to take a specific stream or we can pursue them from any stream?
There's no specific stream. You can pursue it from any stream. There are different courses for direction and acting, of course, but that's a different genre. Direction comes into filmmaking. Acting is a different thing altogether. But stream doesn't matter when it comes to taking any of those courses.
Is there any specific stream you would suggest that might
Do whatever you feel like, whatever your instinct feel like. It doesn't matter if you're from science background, commerce, or art. What feels true to you, what feels very extremely honest, please just do that. It doesn't matter what stream it is.
I have a question for both of you. So while you in curiosity, how do you, while pursuing your dreams and your goals, how do you have a work-life balance?
So, I mean, I feel there's no such thing as work-life balance because when you like for me right now, I'm at this point of stage like in my life that I need to focus on my career, and that's my first and foremost, priority. So whatever is there and can wait for me right now. There'll be a time when I'll focus on my personal life, things that need to be focused on. But right now, I feel whatever decision I make is always it revolves around my career, and I focus on that first.
I think for being a medical professional, you have to be mentally very strong because you don't know when somebody will need you. There is no time. रात को 12 बजे भी if some patient has something, you have to respond. That work-life balance is not actually true for medical. Thank you. Because I'm like, I would personally, I want to pursue something like therapy field or something. I'm asking, how do you help like ADHD or autistic people? How do you help them? So as I told, we will be working with other professionals like as a speech therapist. For an autistic kid, it's also like they are prone to hearing disorders. So the first step when we are diagnosing is we'll recommend the child for a hearing screening. Okay, if the audiologist says yes, all okay, the child comes to us. As a speech language pathologist, my focus target will be making the child speak. If I feel there are some behavioral issues, I will recommend it for psychology. The clinical psychologist will be, working on the behavioral aspect. They will give behavior therapy or other things. They have the diagnostic measurements. If the child has any motor issues, then we recommend it to occupation therapist. So, being an allied professional, it's a teamwork. Not one person can make a child perfectly all right. You need a team of professionals. Like, pediatricians have a team, we have our own team. We work with different other professionals to make a child. The goal is to make him
be normal. So we need a team for that, not one particular professional.
Take a lot of time, like
Of course, it will take years. It will take months and months to see one slightest of improvement, and it will take years and years of therapy to make the child achieve to a target where
so flexible then.
it is flexible. It is flexible. It's all about see, it's a therapy, right? It will be 3 days a week, but it depends on how much support is there from the parent side, from the family side. See, I will take a session for 45 minutes, but I expect the parent to do the same at home. So it's not just my thing. It's like how much input they are getting from their parents or their family also gets incorporated in what I want from the child.
Take it to class 11. That's like one or two questions will take.
During the transition time part between 10th and 11th, we took career counseling and everybody told that you can take science, you can like go for like only doctor and like specialization in it. And now that I'm taking PCMB and you suggested that it's Monday to have psychology or CS as like a course. So what do you suggest now if you want to take up your course? See if you want BSLP. So the RCA guideline says that you should have all these subjects. But what institutes, it's like the entrance exam will be based on your PCB or PCM. Okay. But it's like they have given this criteria as see 50% is the aggregate that you should have in your board exam. So your PCM combined give you 50%. You don't need to add your psychology now. So it's the thing is like if you have PE as your sixth subject, you cannot add that in your aggregate. But if you have psychology, CS or other things, add that particular thing. But if your PCM itself, by far is giving 50%, you don't require those. Okay, let's ask why would you suggest someone to like go for this course instead of going for anything? See, I'm not suggesting anyone, it's a personal choice. MBBS deals with a complete different era of things, and we are dealing with completely. So they are medical practitioners, and we are rehabilitation profession. I am not dealing with any medicines here. I am not dealing with any medicines. I am just dealing with how I can make a person improve with a few techniques. You can say. So it's a total like see MBBS is allied health is very different, but it comes under medical. That's the thing. It's like बहुत different है ठीक है MBBS का बिल्कुल focus area अलग होता है surgery they are into diagnosing things and all. We are completely into different we are into therapies and making how हम कैसे एक इंसान को बिना किसी दवाइयों के ठीक कर सकते that is my so those are the two.
So my question is that how do we get into editing movies for for the bigger levels? I have a basic idea of how cinematography works, and I know many softwares, Premiere, After Effects. So I just want to know that how do we get it, that level of editing for the bigger project?
So first of all, to really get efficient at what you are doing, because editing a feature film, which is going to be a 2.5 hour film, you get a footage of almost 10 to 12 hours. So you need to understand what your job is. You need to really deep dive into what your field is. Second, you need to start finding people who can teach you that. You need to start assisting someone because, of course, there's no placement when it comes to this field. Whatever college you go, I can assure you they tell you that they won't give you any placement. So you need to start finding people, approach them, start working with them, learn from them, assist them, and eventually, I feel you'll reach to the point where you will be editing a feature film.
I had a question. Like, uh, in the audiology, do you deal with ENT disorders or mainly with neurological disorders?
ENT doctor will refer to us. Okay, and what our job is, firstly, I will see
audiology is a very broad field. So you have vestibular disorders in that, you have neurological disorders in that, and then you have hearing impairment disorders. So it's a very broad field, and I will be diagnosing it. Okay, so the ENT, if supposingly example is okay, a patient is there, he's saying I have ear pain, I can't hear properly. So obviously he doesn't know what an audiologist is. Right? Indian, we don't know what audiology is. I am standing here and telling you what audiology is, so you know audiology. एक natural thing होगी कि मैं ENT डॉक्टर के पास जाऊंगा. So basically it works like ENT डॉक्टर के पास वो जाएंगे. The ENT doctor is going to refer to us. So I am in a multidisciplinary setup. The hospital is a multidisciplinary, so it's easier for the patient. Normally क्या होता है कि ENT डॉक्टर के क्लिनिक जाते हैं. अब डॉक्टर ने बोला कि आपकी दवाई खा लो, आपको कान का दर्द चला जाएगा, लेकिन बंदे को but he will not go to an audiologist thinking that I have to go to another XYZ place. What the problem is, people don't have that much of trust because हमारे नाम के आगे वो डॉक्टर नहीं लिखा होता है ना. So that is thing. So that when people come, I will do a hearing test. Okay, I will recommend that person. Okay, you have this much amount of hearing loss. You have to undergo HAT, which is hearing aid trial, and then for the rehabilitation things are there. But depending on how the patient is, what patient's mindset is, we have to counsel the patient. And once you do counseling, it is on the patient if he wants to, get back to us or the ENT doctor. But ultimately, he'll have to come to us only. Okay, so a lot of disorders are there, and every disorder has their own specific rehabilitation. So it's like some disorders might need some medical aspect, like they might need medicines also. So they have to, be in conjunction with the medicine aspect and the therapy aspect.
Students, we'll continue with the session and we'll take up your queries at the end. Thank you, Dhruvi. Thank you, Tushar. Arnav Tulli passed out of ITL Public School in 2019. And here is a highly decorated list of his achievements. Arnav was awarded the following: Merit Certificate by IIT Delhi for being among the top 7% students in 1, 2, 3, and 4th semester. Certificate of Merit by CBSE for being among the top 0.1% of all successful students in computer science, physics, and chemistry in class 12 board examination 2019. Certificate of Merit by CBSE for obtaining grade A1 in all the 5 subjects in class 10 examinations 2017. Certificate of Merit by DSSTF for obtaining rank 11 in SOMT, which was conducted all over Delhi 2017. Certificate of Merit by Science Branch DOE for qualifying JSTSC with a rank of 24 in 2015-16. Apart from the above, Arnav also secured an All India rank of 183 in JEE Advanced and 177 in JEE. He was provisionally selected for KVPY Fellowship Award by securing an All India rank of 157 2018-2019. It's worth mentioning here that Arnav was a 100% attendance achiever in school. He's a football freak and he maintained a wonderful balance between sports and academics, and I hope he's doing so even now. Currently in his 4th year, he will start to work with Samsung next year onwards. Over to you, Arnav.
Hello everyone, good morning. Thank you ma'am for the wonderful introduction. So my field is computer science and engineering. So today I will try to just give you a flavor of this field and how can you get started with computer science and engineering and what are some of the career options that you may look forward to. Now, as compared to other fields that have been talked about till now, it's a relatively simple field as to how you get started with it, what are the career options. So I'm a simple person, so I like this field. So let's move on. First, let's try to ask that what is computer science engineering? So in its simplest form, it's the study of computers. And I mean, if I have to further classify and divide it into sub branches, then we have these four fundamental branches that are there. Starting from the top left, we have theoretical computer science, then computer systems, then artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is today a rapidly developing field and it's much of the interest of various computer scientists. And last is applied CS, applied computer science. So I will just go over each of these branches briefly so that when you get an idea of what you can expect. Well, everything that is there in the slides is what I've learned in these 4 years. So it's something that you can also expect if you go for a degree in computer science and engineering. So theoretical CS it deals with questions like, what is computation? And the corresponding theory underlying it is automata theory. Then which problems can be computed? And the corresponding theory is computability theory. Then how to compute a computable problem? And that gives rise to the paradigm of programming languages, data structures, and algorithms. And last is how quickly can a problem be computed? So I think that it may not sound very familiar to you what all these things are. And so to make things simple, let's consider the following problem. I will give a very simple problem. And what I will give you is that I will give you a sequence of n distinct integers. And what you will be asked to do is you need to sort them in descending order. And you need to output the resulting sequence. So a very simple task. So let the sequence of integers be this 3, 7, 1, 4, 2. Right? So I have 5 integers. Now, any of you can, at a glance, you can just say what the resulting sequence will be. But now let's start thinking about this in a more methodological way. So, for example, let's first ask the question, what is the machine that we are going to use for this computation? So, in our case, it's the human brain. So that is what we call as the automaton. Next is that, can this problem be solved using the brain? And of course, it can be because it's, you don't even have to think twice to say that it's yes. And that is what I mean when I say that the problem is computable. Then how should we go about solving the problem? So, there are various approaches. You may use a different approach than what I'm going to do. But I have a simple one. So what I do is that at a glance, I just check which is the largest number here. So it's 7. So I put it at the first place. Then among the remaining 4 numbers, I look at what the largest number then is, which is 4. I put it at the second place and then repeat this process. And it's simple to check that I have to do it 5 times. So that is the notion of algorithms, the step-by-step process that you need to do in order to solve the problem. And last is that how quickly can you solve this problem as you are being given a large number. So it's easy to check that the answer is given by that sum, n plus n minus 1, and so on and so forth. Because first time I look at n numbers, second time I look at n minus 1 numbers, so on and so forth. So, and if you are familiar with arithmetic progression, then it comes out to be in between n square by 2 and n square. So we say that it takes quadratic time to actually solve this problem. All this is fine, but I give you 5 numbers, you can solve this. But if I give you 1,000 numbers, I don't think any of you will be able to solve it in a reasonable amount of time. So that's where we come to designing actually a computer so that we can even solve these for larger. And that is what the second branch is all about, which is computer systems. So computer systems, it deals with designing, implementing, and using a computer. So, computer architecture, it deals with the hardware and software aspects. So, there are many components which I think you are already familiar with. For example, the CPU, the memory, the input-output devices, and the operating system. And this field also has significant overlaps with electrical and electronics engineering. So, I mean, if you are interested in designing computers, you can also go for that field as well, that engineering field. And these are some examples that I've mentioned. For example, Apple's Gen 1 chip. It's a recent development. It's a very powerful CPU. Then for memory, I've mentioned Samsung's SSD. And I mean, operating system, I think everybody will be familiar with this. It's Windows 11. So computer architecture deals with single computer systems. Computer networks comes when now we want to design for connectivity between those computers. So internet, 4G, 5G, they are the popular ones, which we all know about. Then it's a little advanced topic about concurrent, parallel, and distributed computing. But these include multi-threading, multiprocessing, and GPU programming. I don't know how many of you are familiar with GPUs, but they also help in solving problems at much more efficiently. Then finally, computer security and cryptography. Now that your computers are connected to networks with other computers and possibly malicious users, you have to have some mechanisms to secure your computer systems from that. So that's where this field of computer security and cryptography comes in. Now let's move on to artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I mean, this is let's say it's a relatively simple field because it doesn't do much, right? It just wants to learn from examples. So we just want the computer to learn from examples just like humans do. In a situation as a human, which is something, I mean, a situation we have never faced before, what do? We just see how it goes. And if it does go wrong, next time we just do better. So, I mean, that's the whole idea of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And it's a rapidly developing field with many applications. And I mean, as far as the application pipeline goes, I mean, this is just a basic way in which, artificial intelligence and machine learning, it can be used and it can give rise to a radically different field of robotics. So at the baseline, you start with neural networks. And it's a way of computation that mimics the nervous system in brain. And you use them together to make more specialized programs, more specialized fields like computer vision. And now that you have vision, we can have something for the hearing as well. And even put them all together in the machine, we get the field of robotics. So the last branch is applied science. So I mean, everything else that we have that uses the principles of computer science for applications. So that comes in this field. So computer graphics and visualization, 2D graphics, animation, rendering, virtual reality and augmented reality. Then image and sound processing, it's speech recognition, medical image computing. So Amazon's Alexa is an example of this. Then software engineering, which is often thought of as when we tell people that I'm doing computer science. So I mean, software engineering is something that is very synonymous with it, but of course, it's just a subtype of it. And so Microsoft Office is a common example. Then, of course, in the entertainment industry, so in the gaming industry, film and music industry, so everywhere you have applications of computer science. Here I've just mentioned the game of the year 2022, Elden Ring. I don't know how many of you have played it. So with all that said about the department, now let's see how we can get started with it. So of course, if you are in 10 and you haven't actually decided about what subject you're going to take in 11, so a good starting point can be by taking computer science in 11. At the beginner level, it involves less theory and more problem solving. So if you are a student who has a knack at solving problems, you will find this field much easier than other core subjects like physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So it will not be very hard to manage. And after school, almost all engineering colleges, they offer an undergraduate level course in CSE. It's a BTech degree, 4-year course. And if you're interested in pursuing this field after 12th, you can opt for this course and formally become a CS engineer and progress further in your career. So, of course, doing a degree from a better college, it opens much more career options. So, as a student, you should strive for the best. And if you are at home and it's too early for you to go to college, or even if you are in college, you can always look up these online resources. They are freely available most of the time. Some certifications are, of course, paid, but Getting certifications in specialized courses, they may actually give you an edge over others, especially when sitting in job interviews or interviews for PhDs, higher studies, so on and so forth. Now, I'll just list some top colleges in India from where you can actually get a degree in CSE. So, of course, at the top, you have the IITs, IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, that's where I am right now, IIT Kanpur, Madras, Kharagpur, Roorkee, Guwahati, and Hyderabad. So entrance test that you have to qualify for it is JEE Mains, JEE Advanced. Again, as far as formalities go, it's a very simple criteria. You just have to pass two exams and you get in there. Then you have NIT Trichy. So it's the National Institute of Technology. For this, you just have to qualify JEE Mains. And there are other NITs as well. I'm just mentioning the top one here. Then you have BITS Pilani. So if you did not perform well in JEE Mains or if you want to try something else, you can give BITSAT and get yourself a seat in BITS Pilani. Then VIT Vellore, again, it has a separate entrance, VIT Triple E. And of course, if you are someone who doesn't want to go out of Delhi, at least for undergraduate level, you can also try out for these colleges, which are in Delhi itself, DTU and NSUT. Again, the criteria for qualification is JEE Mains. And all entrance tests, they ask questions from physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So you must get proficient in all three of them to get a seat in one of the top colleges in India. Now, what next, right? Once you get the degree, what can you do about that? So till the degree, it's very simple, right? What you need to do, it's everything is streamlined for you. You give this exam, you give that exam, you get into college, you get the degree. Now, what can you do after that? So first thing is you can get a job. Very simple again. So many big tech companies, they hire CS engineers at the undergraduate level. These include Google, Microsoft, Samsung, Sony, Amazon, and Uber. Of course, there are others as well, which I have not mentioned. Apart from these, many HFT or trading firms, I don't know how many of you know about it, because at your level, I didn't know about them. But they also start hiring at the undergraduate level, and their offers are often lucrative. So these include Jane Street, Graviton, AlphaGram, and Quadrant. Second option that you have is that you can pursue higher studies. You can get a master degree and eventually a PhD. With a PhD, you will become eligible. First, you will become eligible for teaching and research roles at even academic institutions. You can become a professor and carry on with your research, published papers, so on and so forth. Also, many tech companies, they hire PhD students for advanced research roles, for which undergraduates are not actually eligible for, because it requires specialized domain knowledge. So you do get an edge over them if you go for a PhD. And you can also, get an MBA degree and enter managerial roles in tech companies. It's a fairly recent and successful trend. Prominent examples like Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai, right? They are currently CEOs of Microsoft and Google, respectively. So this is also an option that you have available. So CS is an ever-growing field, and therefore the possibilities are actually endless, because CS engineers, they are in high demand in the corporate world, not only for the domain knowledge, but also for the problem-solving skills. There are many companies that come to IITs for placement, and most of them, they are not even from CS background, let's say, but they still hire CS engineers because of the problem-solving skills. So that is definitely a skill that can get you where you want in different corporate worlds. Of course, the downside is that many students want to pursue CS. So that only further adds to the competition, especially at the college. So I think the toughest part of my journey till this point is, getting through JEE Mains and JEE Advanced. And of course, that's the toughest thing that you have to face. And that's also something that you have to make yourself ready for. So with that, I end my duty. And if you have any questions, I'm free to answer.
Thank you so much, Arnav. I hope students, you are noting your queries so that you can ask them later on. Next, we have Inesh, who is a graduate in history from Delhi College of Arts and Commerce, Delhi University, has done his certificate speaking course in Spanish from Instituto Cervantes, New Delhi, and is continuing his postgraduate program in sports management. He has an enriching experience of work in the Delhi College of Arts and Commerce from August 2018 to July 2021, further followed by working in the IBSA Sports Academy. Adding to his credentials, here is an exhaustive list of his achievements. In the nationals and zonals category, Inesh represented CBSE in SGFI National Basketball Championship in Panchkula under 19. He represented school in CBSE Nationals held in Rajnandgaon, Chhattisgarh under 17. He secured first position in basketball zonals in 2013, 2016, and 2017. In 2016 and 17, he secured second and third position in CBSE Clusters Basketball Tournament. He bagged first position in SGFI National Basketball Championship representing Delhi under 14. He represented Delhi in Open Nationals held in Patna, Bihar, that is, under 14. Not only this, Inesh actively participated in sport events of various colleges and schools. He was member of top 5 basketball squads in Delhi University in 2018 and 2019. Following is the list of his first positions secured in the events of the schools and colleges. In IIT Kanpur, 2 times in a row, which is 2018 and 2019. In BITS, Goa. In Shiv Nadar University. In 800 meters, 400 meters race in annual sports day of ITIL Public School. And here is a list of his second position bagged in Ashoka University, which is in Sonipat, Haryana, and in Jesus and Mary College, Delhi University. Wow. Over to you, Inesh.
Hello. Check. All right, so before I start, I want to thank people who all came before me. Thank you very much. And I'm extremely honored to be here. And I want to thank Mr. Ishwar over there, standing right there. He's a man, a mentor, he's everything. Right, so before I start, I want to ask the question to all of you. How many of you all are into sports? Please raise your hands. Right. Okay. Like, I'm going to change my question. Like, how many of you are representing the school? Representing the school in any sports, in any sports. All right, all right. Like, how many of you are represented the state or nationals? Like, look at the like declining ratio of the hands. Right. So, okay, so I'm standing here behalf of all sports, right? But why would one choose sports? Why would one choose sports? Like, when I ask you all a question, like, what's the first thing when I talk about sports? हम नीचे आके खेल लेंगे शाम को जाके 5 बजे के टाइम हो गया, I will go down and play, right? So, but for me, it has been my priority since day one. And I've played basketball throughout my life. I've been an active sports person. And now, while I'm working as a student in I am Rohtak, and I'm pursuing sports management right now. Also, currently, I'm pursuing a course in sports performance analytics. Um, where I've understood that not only sports as a career, not as sports as an athlete, it has changed my life, or it has changed my perception towards sports like completely. Um, so for me as an athlete throughout my life, sport has taught me a lot of things: to be humble, to be modest, to be down to earth, and to respect everyone whoever comes to your way. And the things which come to you like over the years, it will give you a lesson, regardless if it is positive or negative. It will all gives you a lesson. And sports has also taught me as an athlete that even when the odds are against you, you have to work hard and fight all the odds and rise above it. These are some of the opportunities when we talk about sports. First, we talk about sports management. Hey, as a team, like obviously you can't win alone. You can't win alone. You have to have a team. So in this team, if you become a leader, you have to look at all the budgets. You look after you have to look at all the financial things which are happening around. You know what I'm talking about. And the sports marketing, it covers all the aspects regarding your sponsors, your partnerships, your collaborations with other companies, and your merchandise, your retail, all the things which come under, the management part of the company. Like, for example, if you take up Nike, Nike has a whole lot of retail. It has a whole lot of collaborations and everything. Just like the same thing I'm talking about. Social media also, obviously, you can work as a social media content creator. Like the like you all are like around 14, 15, 16. You all are very active on Instagram. The reels you all I'm talking about, the reels. Exactly the thing I'm talking about. The social media which covers all the reels and all the you know um, all the things which showcase the sports you are playing. It gets promoted to the entire country. Right. And even planner. I'm also a co-founder of one of the companies of one of the startups which we have. Me and one of my colleagues in my college have organized. That is even chronicle sporting events where we have organized a couple of tournaments in football, MMA, basketball, and we're about to start a badminton league as well in the coming months. Right. So if you want to look further into sports, like if you are a good sports person, if you have good amount of knowledge about the sports of any sports, be it any, right? You can work as on the grassroots levels where you can pick up potential to be who can become a um, you know potential international player or athlete. Also, while getting into further into the level, you can work on the scouting part. Once you become a part of any academy, like since I'm working with Ishwar sir for a couple of years, and we have been working along for a couple of years now, and I've scouted a lot of players around Dwarka and Delhi as well, where I have gathered them into the academy as well. I thank you, Ishwar Bhadi, for that. And while coming to this, sports coaching and physical education. You all are familiar about our sports infrastructure in in ITL. Mr. Rajput sir, I salute to you, Mr. Ishwabadi, Mr. Savidamam, everyone. And while I talk about sports coaching and physical education, like first things first, a coach. For example, if you take Ishwar Bhadi sir over there, he's a coach, he's a mentor, he's a referee, he's a professor, he's everything. All the three categories under sports coaching and physical education comes under him, right? So for this, a person who wants to become a coach, a referee, or a professor, it all needs a different kind of a qualified CV or resume. For coach, a person with a good experience of the sport, a person who has played a sport for more than 10 to 15 years, and further, while you become a referee, you want to do some. For example, in basketball, there's a referee. There are a couple of referees, and for example, in football, there's umpire or in cricket. So they are certified. There are many different courses which you can offer. And further, when you get an internship or in any small scale tournaments or leagues, you can become an umpire or something like that. And for professor, once you get a good amount of experience in the field of umpire, coach, and referees, you can further you can become a visiting faculty at various prestigious universities where you can go and give you can go and give a lecture to the upcoming coaches and referees. For example, one thing came to my mind. A couple of days back, I was in NIS Patiala. I met a NIS Patiala that is in Punjab. I came across I came across coaches from different various sports that I wasn't aware of. So it gave me a sense of confidence, and it gave me a sense of knowledge that we are not like we are all confined into four walls, right? If you don't think out of the box, you won't be able to get out. You always have to think out of the box, right? So when we come to sports science, the first sports science I'm talking about people who are all interested in engineering, tax, physics, maths, right? So the course which I'm pursuing right now is also called sports performance analyst. You all are aware of the FIFA World Cup which happened recently, where Argentina won, right? So as a sports analyst, what would you do? You would obviously see like the way Mbappe scored in the 80th minute. It was like quite intense, right? So uh, so you would actually try to figure out what formation would France would do to overcome the attacking field of Argentina, right? So that would be one thing which a sports analyst would do. If you are into information technology or you are into the computer science part, right? You can go get into the technological aspect of both science. So here you can see the industrial science. You can design the entire, you know, the entire the industry as well as the product of the industry, like what we are selling, what we have in our hand, and what we have to promote to the entire society. And you will also work as the equipment of an athlete, how it would help the athlete to work upon, and how it would enhance his efficiency while he plays the sport. And for example, like coming to sports science, like coming to the medicine part, uh, like she mentioned, like all about sports, all about medicine, and you can become a sports doctor and a physician. You like I think I may be wrong, but you need to have a MBBS degree or a MD in medicine to become a doctor. Further, if you still have the love for sports after so much education in medicine, you can get into the science. If you get into the side of sports doctor. Right. So while you come as a physiotherapy and therapist, physiotherapist, or you can also become a physiotherapist and a therapist. For that, you need to work. You need to do a course in BSc. BA therapy or BA physiotherapy. Further, like you have to do masters in that. Then only you get into the field of physiotherapist and physiotherapist. Right. So you can also become a nutritionist of an athlete, of any athlete. You can become a personal nutritionist of an athlete. For that, you need to do a BSc in nutrition, then you need to do MSc in nutrition. Further you get shortlisted among the, you get shortlisted in one of the Premier Leagues in India, and further you get into this. And like most of you who are pursuing, like who have physics like PCM or PCMB, kinesiology and biomechanics, which is usually sports biomechanics. That is actually the physics of sports. Like like for example, if I shoot a ball, the trajectory is the ball to the basket. Everything it comes under the kinesiology and biomechanics, right? So sports law. Mm, there's nothing specific about the sports law. There's nothing as such. But when you study law, but they are contract law, media law, competition. But all these things all together, like this will get you into a field of law. I mean, get into the field of sports law. But when you talk about contractual basis, like if I'm an athlete, like I have a lawyer, he will talk about my contracts to another club, like what are incentives I would get, and what all the pros and cons of the athlete, right? So sports journalism, um, right? So like I want to mention one thing too. I was in FICCI Federation Chambers in Monday House a couple of days back. I was extremely honored to meet Rika Roy, Mrs. Rika Roy. She's a sports editor and reporter of NDTV. I had a great talk with her. She told me about the sports, like how the sports culture is evolving over the years, and I got to know a lot from. So like when we come to public relations, like if I'm standing over here and I'm promoting sports to each one of you who was standing in front of me. So the way public relation works is the way you talk to people, the way you influence, and the way you know try to comprehend what the other one wants. And a reporter, you can also work as a reporter of any team, of any. Ultimately, you have to start working at a small scale. Obviously, you have to work small, then you reach big. Can't reach at the top one day. And photography, Obviously, when you see Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, whenever they score a goal, look at the photographers sitting right across the field. How many photographers are right there to take a photograph of them, right? So all things are small, but when it comes to when it comes to a level, it gives you sort of a relief, and it gives you sort of satisfaction where you are and where you were in the starting. And market research, like all gossip, it's all gossip. And for instance, on field and off field, they both are different. On field and off field, both are different. People who are sitting right now, some people are armchair fans. Like if you are aware of what armchair fans are, they don't know about the sport, but they say we are a big fan. You know. So whenever another team wins, they go and join that team, right? So uh, all right, yes. Like coming to the pros and cons. Like for me, as a sports person throughout my life, it has it was my complete passion towards the sport and my love for sports, which is perpetual. It's never gonna end. And one of the first thing, one of the most important thing I got to know from Mr. Jika Roy was when I asked her what's the sports culture, she told me that. Uh, my simple question was, what do you think about the sports culture? Is it right? She just said me one word. She said, in India, sports is as a very nascent stage, right? So it's at a very nascent stage. Like it gave me I think we still got potential. Like since we have a population of over billions right now, I think we still got a lot to do, right? So we can also work with top brands and celebrities. For example, recently, you all must be aware of Varun Sood and Ranvijay, 100%, right? MTV people. Yeah, I was also honored to play with Varun Sood once, like a couple of years back, pre-COVID, at C4 Sports Complex. I played with Varun Sood. A nice guy, very nice guy. What a comedy. Pros, which is innovation. By innovation, I mean you got to think out of the box. You have to improvise. Like you can't go like this. There will be this, there will be this, there will be this. Right? You gotta innovate. You gotta build new techniques. You gotta think. You gotta think a lot. You have to work hard. You have to work hard. And the cons when you come like sports, what is the first thing? क्या job मिलेगी? क्या job मिलेगी? Right? You all play. I know. You all play. I see Akshay over there. He plays basketball really good. And but one thing is limited employment. It is true, but it's still rising. Sports in India is still rising in terms of employment. It's still rising. Not there yet, but like ISL, I League, many of the since I'm from basketball background, there was a league couple of years back, UPA, which got they had a financial problem, so they stopped it a couple of years back. And so, like one of the other things that limited employment is a part of a hindrance part of a sports culture, I would say. And competition, yes, definitely competition is I mean a lot of competition is there. A lot of competition. For example, like since companies like Spartan, Shiv Naresh, you all must be aware of the companies that you all wear like jackets and everything. They have a monopoly they have the monopoly in the competition where Shiv Naresh is dominating the entire sports way and the merchandising part of sports. And cons obviously takes time. Rome wasn't built in one day. Rome wasn't built in one day. Obviously, good things take time. Also, you got to have patience. You got to have patience. And I'm still exploring the speed. Like I'm still a student. I'm still learning. I'm learning every day. And and what else? Yeah, I'm extremely honored to be here to talk to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Inesh. You can ask your queries to Inesh and Arnav also. So, Arnav, can I please request you to come up on the stage?
Ready?
My question is for Alumni. So you said in the beginning that you took the KVT exam. And as far as I know, the paper consists of four sections: biology, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So my question is, what stream did you take, and when did you give the exam? Like during school or after completing school?
So I took the non-medical stream, which has physics, chemistry, mathematics, and computer science was the additional subject. Uh, as far as KVY is concerned, in class 11th you have these four sections that you mentioned, but in class 12th you have to give only three sections like physics, chemistry, maths, or physics, chemistry, biology. So I gave it in both class 11th and 12th, but I did not qualify in class 11th. I qualified in class 12th, and back then I got 157. So yeah, during school times only, not after school.
Here, ask you, how did you prepare for a JEE advanced?
Uh, I mean, you need to start from 11 because the syllabus is of both class 11 and class 12. So, I mean, there are many coaching institutes which are there, like FITG, you must have heard, PNC, and they do prepare you for the exam. They tell you basically the syllabus is a little bit different for especially for JEE advanced. It's a little different from what you are taught in school. So you need to be able to understand what all things are new and at the same time master them. So coaching institutes, they definitely give you a lot of insight and they especially make the whole thing more clear to you. So you can join one of the coaching institutes. Personally, for me, thankfully, my father was a teacher, so my father taught me, and I mean that's how I got prepared for it. I mean, he's also an IITian, so that was fine.
And what is the best institute for aeronautics or astrophysics?
For aeronautics and astrophysics. I don't know much about it, but I mean, in India, as far as India is considered, of course, you can go for IIT Bombay. I know they have a program in aeronautical engineering. So, I mean, as far as astrophysics, I think IISc Bangalore also has it for as far as astrophysics is concerned. I mean, but if you want to go for engineering, IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi, they are, of course, the top colleges in India. So, you can definitely aim for them.
I wanted to ask, how did you decide that you have to pursue engineering in future?
Okay. I mean, so I think it was very simple. This is something that I decided when let's say I was in class first or second, because at that time I was for the first time introduced to video games and I played them and I mean I was very passionate about them and very into them. So I thought that I just have to make games. Then I asked my parents what should I do for it. They said go to IIT, get a CSE degree. And that's how I ended up here.
Parinita ma'am? I think, Shri, I'll just interrupt you in between. Due to a little bit of paucity of time right now, I think we'll take this up towards the end, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, Arnav and Dinesh. Navneet, she bid farewell to her school life in 2014-2015. She has successfully completed her course in culinary arts from International Institute of Culinary Arts and Academy of Pastry Arts. Currently, she is an entrepreneur in her field of specialization, and the marketing division of her company is looked after by Simarjot, who interestingly also is another ex-IT. So the stage is all yours, Navneet and Simar. Thank you.
Morning, Chef Ravneet Paul. Currently, I'm heading Florence from like a cloud kitchen based out of Rajouri Garden. So, frankly speaking, I always wanted to do something which I'm passionate about. And the last thing I feared was public speaking. So, here I am in front of you today. And so, like talking about Florence, it's one of the few bakeries in Delhi, NCR. With, like it's a 100% eggless kitchen, and we are based out of Rajouri Garden. And we specialize in quick custom cakes through Zomato and Swiggy and Instagram. And other specialities of ours is it's a customized and regular cakes we make, hampers and corporate gifting. So I my journey began right after my school. The one thing I'm proud of that I followed my passion. I started my career with main kitchen from like the cuisines and everything from International Institute of Culinary Arts in Hoskas. So um, I learned different techniques and different cuisines, international cuisines for 2 years. I did internships in multiple five-star properties like Meridian Gurgaon and Western Gurgaon, etc. And then after my 2 years of course, I thought, why not go into like learn another other side of the kitchen, which is bakery. And then from like the bakery for bakery, I got admission into Academy of Pastry and Culinary Arts Gurgaon, and from there I learned different techniques and different types and techniques of baking and methods of baking and everything. And after completing my diploma, I got chance to do an intensive program in Malaysia after my course from academy, and then which was a big change. Like it was very good for my career, and so after I came back to India, I took a break for some time, and then like as you know, COVID happened, and then after COVID, I started with like me and Simmer, we started our brand Florence. And so the biggest challenge for me, which I faced in my career, was converting each and everything into eggless, because what I learned was that was everything with egg. And as like in India, people demand for eggless because there are very few bakeries out there which provide eggless, the like proper eggless cakes and goodies, baked goodies. So officially, it started in December 2020 when we started hiring and shifted to a bigger space. So within the next 6 months, we were invited by Truthful Nation, which is which is a bakery institute, for an interview about our journey. So we started the concept of Geode LED cakes, where we fit in the LED light inside the cake, so the sugar crystals glows. So after the cakes which we have provided were the chole bhatura cake, the Maggi cake, and the bento cake. So we did one for the COVID also. And then like even though so right now I'm currently handling the daily production as well as the staff management, the training and everything there. And now we have employed chefs, cake artists, fondant artists, and other helping staff, including the interns. And
Yeah. So what she forgot was कि जब कोविड पेंटो केक्स हम कर रहे थे तो मुझे कोविड था और मैं कमरे में था एंड मैम अकेले किचन संभाल रही थी कोविड के टाइम पर व्हिच ट्रस्ट मी इज अ बिग अचीवमेंट क्योंकि मैं बहुत बातें करता हूँ और वो बातें नहीं करती तो वो सारे क्लाइंट्स के साथ डील कर रही थी साथ में केक्स लॉन्च कर रही थी एंड वी गॉट probably 1,000-1,500 shares within 1 week. We were approached by the who's who of Delhi because of those COVID bento cakes. And sadly, we couldn't run ads on it because if we could run ads on it, we would have come here 1 year prior. but bad luck because Instagram said कि आप FCUK कोविड नहीं यूज कर सकते, कोविड इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, FCUK नहीं इस्तेमाल कर सकते. Okay, next. I handle the marketing part of Florence, and I handle what craziness of Florence के नया क्या launch करना है, क्या करना है इसमें, clients को सारा क्या quotations देनी है, किसको कितना लूटना है, किसको कितना कम लूटना है, वो सारे मैंने सब. So if you're good to me, मैं को कम लूटूंगा, अगर if you're bad to me, तो bad. I'll make you wait for the quotations till the end of the day, and then I'll do to you so much money. Okay, so let's discuss the concept of Florence. Okay, so what we did, हुआ क्या? Because हमसे तो बहुत लोग ये पूछते हैं कि बहुत लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया कोविड के टाइम पे. Genuinely, there were thousands of kitchens which started at the time of COVID, but that's good. No one the level that Florence did in 2 years. What happened? मैं इसको इगोइस्टिक में नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, नो वन अचीव द लेवल. मैं आज तक ये बिलीव करता हूँ कि हमारी छोटी सी होम बेकरी है, हम लोग दिन के 30-40 आराम से केक्स बना लेते हैं, एंड बस रात की रोटी मिल जाएगा और हम सोने चल जाते हैं. वी डोंट इवन लुक एट अकाउंट्स, वी डोंट लुक एट anything that is going on, and ये जो लूटने वाला पार्ट है, that's all fun, right? We started as a very affordable bakery. You know, when we started at 700 rupees per kilo, customized cakes. No one was doing it. So cheap and unique designs. The best of service. क्योंकि हम लोग सुबह शुरू करते थे 9 बजे से. She used to start the kitchen at 9 a.m. and I used to work till 4 a.m. in the morning. Entrepreneurship. Welcome to it. बहुत अच्छा लगता है Instagram. Then what we did was धीरे धीरे कि हमने प्राइसेस बढ़ाना शुरू कर दिए. जिस केक को हमने शुरू किया था, इसमें पहले जियो डेलिटी केक देखा होगा, वापस आ सकते हैं उन केक्स के ऊपर प्लीज. मैं थोड़ा सा समय लूंगा क्योंकि मैं समझा के जाऊंगा कि धंधा करते कैसे. तो तो हमने ना इस केक के साथ शुरू किया था. अपनी बहन के लिए बनाया था, उसको बड़ी मुश्किल से, उसका बजट 1400-1300 रुपए का था, हमने उसको 1650 को बेच दिया. इस वक्त हम इसको 3175 रुपए का बेचते हैं. सेम केक. यार भाव भी तो बढ़ गया ना हमारे, डबल हुआ है भाव हमारे 2 साल में. These cakes came along. This cake broke the internet. This one right here. It is all edible, and it's not 30 hours to make this one cake. It's a very, very, very difficult piece of art. And we sell it for around 5,600 rupees for 1 kg, which is very, very, very expensive, even for South Delhi. It generally is very expensive. वो लोग रोते हैं कि हम इतना महंगा तो यहाँ की बेकरीज भी नहीं बेच रही, तो हाँ खरीद ले, फिर मैं क्या आगे बढ़े. And छोला भटूरा केक also broke the internet. इसकी जो पहले बना था, and ये रवनीत ने बनाया था. Finally we got just like 1 hour to make it. उस टाइम पे स्मृति ईरानी जी की बेटी के लिए भी केक जा रहा था, जो हम इसमें मेंशन नहीं कर सकते, बट हमें केस हो सकता है. तो जब ये वाला केक बना था, it got so many shares and it got us featured in HT City, in Chandigarh and Hyderabad. Sadly, Delhi didn't do it. Jealous people. Chandigarh and Hyderabad did it. Good for them. And then came the Maggie cake, whatever it was. Over bento cakes I've already talked about. We'll move to the next slide now. Cool. तो इसके बाद इससे पहले वाला अभी तक मैं पूछ रहा हूँ. तो इधर क्या हुआ कि हमने क्या शुरू किया कि हमने प्राइसेस के ऊपर ना इंक्रीज करना शुरू कर दिया विद टाइम, जैसे फॉलोअर्स बढ़ते हैं. सेम जैसे मेकअप आर्टिस्ट और इन्फ्लुएंसर्स करती हैं कि वो 25 साल का आदमी मेकअप कर रही होती है, साल के एंड में जाकर उनको 75 का हो जाए. कोई बड़ी बात नहीं इसमें. शादी होगी तो पता चल सकता है. अभी भी आया शादी. तो हमने प्राइस इंक्रीज किया और हमने डिजाइन और फ्लेवर्स के ऊपर लिमिट करना शुरू कर दिया कि हम ये डिजाइन नहीं करेंगे, हम ये डिजाइन नहीं करेंगे. भाव बढ़ा दिए. लेकिन एक समय के बाद बहुत लोग क्या करते हैं, और आप में से बहुत लोग करोगे भी ये चीज, मुझे पता बताने के बावजूद भी, कि आप स्टार्टिंग से अपने भाव बढ़ा दोगे कि नहीं मैं आई हूँ मार्केट में. ऐसा नहीं चलता है. पहले काम करो, नाम बनाओ, उसके बाद भाव बढ़ाओ. अगर स्टार्टिंग से भाव बढ़ाओगे, स्टार्टिंग से इतने एक्सपेंसिव चीजें बेचोगे, स्टार्टिंग से अपनी सर्विसेज को इतना हाई वैल्यू पे रखोगे कि दूसरा बंदा भी सोचेगा यार तुमसे अच्छा तो मैं किसी और से करा लूं जो मार्केट में ऑलरेडी स्टैब्लिश है, कम से कम ब्रांड वैल्यू तो मिलेगी मुझे. Start with earning less money when you start and then go towards bigger money, क्योंकि फिर वो एक्सपोनेंशियल राइज होगा. अगर स्टार्टिंग से एक्सपोनेंशियल राइज देखोगे, इंस्टाग्राम की वीडियोस देखकर, पॉडकास्ट देखकर, तो ऐसा नहीं होता. बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है स्टार्टिंग में. You'll have to put in 20 to 22 hours of work, and then you achieve a stage where you can stand here and talk in front of you. Right? Okay, so bento cakes were the biggest thing that we did, and we're still known for bento cakes. Even though we don't handle it personally, our team handles it. As Ramit said, that we have a whole team of people who are handling the Instagram right now. So if you text, we get a reply. Don't use phones. Okay, I'm speaking. So we did bento cakes, and then we did quick bento cakes. Like you would call us and we would tell कि ठीक है 2 घंटे तुम्हारे घर पे customized cake पहुंच जाएगा, which was unheard of in Delhi. They were doing it in Bombay, but in Bombay also they were doing it with just 2 flavors: vanilla buttercream and chocolate truffle. We did it with 25 flavors. 25 flavors of cake, 2 hours, and customized by guarantee. It led to Florence doing over 15,000 orders in the past 2 years, maybe more than 15,000. Again, as I said, I don't count. But minimum 15,000 है क्योंकि मैंने बैंक चेक किया. सुबह आने से पहले get that ego boost. कमाया मैंने. Okay, so next what we did was we introduced these 2-hour cakes on Swiggy and Zomato and made them in 30 minutes. We trained the staff to create these 25 flavors. Now we are cutting down on flavors because obviously it's getting very, very, very difficult as we're moving towards the mark of 80 cakes a day or 100 cakes a day. उस टाइम पे we'll have to limit the amount of flavors that we do because it's very, very, very difficult. And जितना ज़्यादा staff, उतना ज़्यादा problem your teachers would be doing. The bigger the class, the more difficult it is. See, the teachers are laughing. You want. So one of them, I was enjoying that too. So it's like the best decision I made was to let Ramneet bring your brother along. Okay, we go to the next slide. Okay, so marketing का क्या? How did we start with the marketing? Hey, concentrate here. I'm speaking. Hey, no shame, bro. Okay, so no, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. It's okay. Let them speak. What happened with the marketing part? How would you do the marketing? This is where Florence came into the picture. इसके पहले Florence was a big Florence was a big cake customized brand. You know, like बड़ा cake 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 किलो. यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? Jatin Malik Couture was our client already, so they approached us to make chocolates for them. We did chocolates for them. We didn't know how to do chocolates. She learned and she did it for them, a whole order. Then we were approached by Siddharth Bansal from the Lakme Fashion Week, H&M, Geisha Designs, Hype, Prakshi Fine Jewelry, Stage 3 Social, and finally our cakes went to Sonam Bajwa and Deepa, which was the highlight of this year from February to all of this that happened in 4 months. All of this. And then I got dengue and go to break. बहुत नजर लग गई हमें. आगे बढ़ते हैं. अच्छा, इसके साथ साथ in the past 1 to 2 years, we've also gotten featured in Wedney Good, Lifestyle Asia, HTCity, All About Eat, What's Hot, New Indian Express, Hindustan Times, Politians, Femina, Slur, Pop XODG, Miss Malini, and recently Food Talk. Okay. You're amazing. Okay. And usually people pay for this, right? People pay 35,000 to 40,000 rupees a month for all of this. It's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy. Just to get featured in this at a very nascent stage, it's just been 1.5 to 2 years that we have been in the market. It's not कि हम 10 साल पुराना 20 साल पुराना है जो हमें easily मिल जाए सब कुछ. I paid zero for this. So much so that we actually, जब हम इसमें Sodari mentioned here, Sodari was also in here. We actually got calls from people asking for blueberry cheesecake. We don't make cheesecakes as of now. And he was calling him Kolkata. And he wanted to get the cake delivered to his mother in, I think, Dwarka itself. And I asked him how to get the number. My number is published nowhere on the internet. It's not allowed. He said that I got it from So Delhi. And we didn't know we had gotten featured because these pages do not tell you if you've gotten featured. They don't tag you. They just put your name in the newspaper article or on Facebook and they just let it be. Similarly, हमें नहीं पता था कि हम लाइफस्टाइल एशिया में भी फीचर हुए हैं. हमें नहीं पता था कि हम इनमें से बहुत सारे पोर्टल्स में एक्चुअली हम फीचर हो रहे हैं. जो हमें पता था वो सिर्फ इतना पता था कि हम हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स में फीचर हो रहे हैं एंड आई थिंक इसमें से आई थिंक फेमिना. दैट्स इट. दीस टू we were aware of. Everything else came as a surprise. We have been featured among the top 10, top 8, top 5 bakeries of Delhi multiple times because of the bento cakes and because of the innovations that we do regularly at Florence. Which is a beautiful mark in itself. It's not easy to get. You cannot buy it. You just cannot. बाहर जाके खरीदने बैठ जाओ, तुम्हें कोई नहीं देगा आर्टिकल. तुम्हें आर्टिकल दे देंगे तुम्हारे बारे में कि oh my god, you're the best student ever, but they'll not tell you that you're among the top 10 students of Delhi. They'll not do it. ये उनके जो एडिटर्स होते हैं, टॉप एडिटर्स, सिर्फ वो ही ये लिस्ट प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं. आगे बढ़ते हैं. इसके बाद कुछ है नहीं. ओके कूल. तो इसके बाद सिर्फ मैं ब्लाबर करूंगा, क्योंकि इसके बाद जो मैं बात करने जा रहा हूँ वो फ्लोरेंस के बारे में नहीं है, वो ओवरऑल बिजनेस के बारे में है एंड आपकी लाइफ के बारे में. बिकॉज आप लोगों को कुछ चीजें समझनी पड़ेगी. बिकॉज ये जो रिसेंट ईयर्स में जो मैं भी देखते आ रहा हूँ बच्चों को, दैट हैज चेंज्ड अ लॉट एंड genuinely. So we're going to highlight that and there's a list. Cool. So when you do a business, there are a lot of brands. So we're doing cakes, we're doing cookies, we're doing hampers, we're doing a lot of things. But there are brands which are just doing cookies in the edible area. There are brands which are just making, for example, dry cakes. The brands which are just doing packaging. So whenever you start a business or whenever you do something, एक चीज के ऊपर फोकस करना हमेशा. Don't focus on multiple things. If you focus on multiple things, people will not be able to relate to you. Right now, people relate to us as a quick customized cake brand in the bento cake category. They do not relate to us as a chocolatey or brand. They do not relate to us as anything else or an overall bakery. अगर मैं breads बेचने जाऊँ तो कोई नहीं खरीदने वाला. Even my existing audience will not buy it because they don't relate to us in that way. Make something जिससे लोगों को relatability factor आए आपके साथ. एंड आप एक चीज के लिए जाने जाओ, आपके लिए मार्केट में ग्रो करना और पैसा कमाना बहुत आसान हो जाएगा. दूसरा पॉइंट इज बी यूनिक एंड बी क्रिएटिव with that single product. For example, if you're doing cookies, how can I be creative and unique with cookies? Use the best chocolate available in the market. There are multiple kitchens doing cookies. They're using the best of the best Belgian chocolate in the market. They're making delicious cookies. The serving size of one cookie is this big. It's for 200, 250 rupees a cookie. Pricey, but it's okay. They have a beautiful name in it. Who cares? They're selling, they're minting money. They're minting lots and lots of money by selling just cookies. And she's operating out of a small house. Small house in the sense small kitchen, not like small house. She's very rich. She's putting out a small kitchen. Okay. Next is do something new. And if you cannot do something new, improve something that is there in the market. See, bento cakes and geode cakes were not our ideas. I'll not take credit for what we have not done. Bento cakes is a Korean concept, and we improved it. We marketed it in Delhi in such a way that people think that Florence invented these cakes. We did not do it. मैथमेटिक्स सीखने की या कुछ पढ़ने की टेक्निक्स होती हैं जो बच्चे डेवलप कर लेते हैं 11वीं 12वीं में, एंड देन इट जस्ट कैरीज ऑन. Those are new techniques that you might develop, or you might take somebody else's techniques and develop those techniques. अभी पढ़ाई के बारे में कर नहीं सकता, मैं तो पढ़ा लिखा हूँ नहीं, सॉरी. लेजिट स्कूल में कॉलेज में जाते मैंने पापा का बिजनेस ज्वाइन किया था, ये तो मैं नहीं कर सकता, पढ़ाइयाँ तो नहीं हो रही 12वीं के बाद पढ़ाई करती. तो इसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट आता है वो ये है कि see there are good sides to entrepreneurship and there are then bad sides to entrepreneurship. The good side is that everybody sees you as a very inspirational figure since you do not have anybody to guide you. You're making all of these decisions, very risky decisions on your own samaj. The bad side is depression, anxiety, panic attacks, sleepless nights, lots and lots of losses that come with it, and I've suffered through all of this over the past 8 years. Not at Florence, but at other multiple businesses that I've done, and some of them have failed terribly. So failure is a big part of entrepreneurship. If you cannot take failure, do not do business. गलती से भी धंधे में मत आना अगर फेलियर नहीं ले सकते तो, क्योंकि हर रोज फेलियर. You wake up with 2-3 गालियां in the morning and you sleep with 2-3 गालियां at the night. अगर गालियां खाने की आदत नहीं है तो बिजनेस करने का, धंधे करने का सोचना भी मत. So for all of you who have been bullied in school, congratulations, you become excellent entrepreneurs. So मेरी तरफ से entrepreneurship में आप लोगों के लिए बहुत बड़ी हाँ है, and the ones who have been bullying, आप लोग बिल्कुल भी नहीं कर सकते. आप कृपया करके किसी और फील्ड में जाइए, आपको जो करना है आप करिए. अच्छा, इसके बाद क्या है कि since there is nobody to guide you, I would really advise you to read books. Educate yourself and start educating yourself right now. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Read हैबिट्स के ऊपर की किताब, रीड एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग यू वांट, बट जस्ट एजुकेट योरसेल्फ. डू नॉट बी लॉस्ट इन द सी ऑफ अदर पीपल जिनको कुछ नहीं पता, बस वो कुछ कर रहे हैं क्योंकि इंस्टाग्राम पे किसी का पॉडकास्ट देख लिया था या यूट्यूब पे किसी की वीडियो देख ली थी कि चलो धंधा करते हैं, चलो बिजनेस करते हैं. नहीं, अगर नहीं करना बिजनेस तो मत करो. 9 to 5 की जॉब इज ब्यूटीफुल. कम से कम तो मुझे हर रोज रात के 12 बजे गालियां नहीं आ रही होंगी क्लाइंट से कि ये क्या किया, ये क्या किया, ये क्यों, मुझे डिलीवरी नहीं पहुंची, मेरा केक का कलर लाइलैक नहीं लैवेंडर है. Person like me who's half colorblind cannot identify between lilac and lavender and purple and grey. For me, all purples are grey. I'm like, lavender is not lilac. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I give you a voucher. There's nothing else that I can do. Okay, social media ka kaam, which is very in these days. Let us become a social media influencer, let us become a social media person. And I'm sure a lot of you would be thinking of it as a career right now also, post 12th also, which is excellent. सिर्फ रिसर्च कर लेना अबाउट द पेरेंट्स ऑफ सोशल मीडिया. बैक साइड क्या है उसकी, कितना काम करना पड़ता है. और एक और चीज, अगर आप सोशल मीडिया पे अपनी लाइफ एक्सपोज कर देते हो एक टाइम के बाद तो आप उसको वापस नहीं ले सकते. इस चीज का ध्यान रखना, जो कि बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है जो हमारे आसपास के लोग हैं उनके साथ. Once you have exposed your life on social media, once you have gone public with anything, be it your relationship, be it your business, be it anything in your life, you will not be able to take that back. अभी बहुत फैंसी लगता है सब कुछ करना कि oh my God. ऐसा legit कुछ नहीं होता है. Promote your business, promote your personality. If you want to go online, if you want to become an influencer, keep your private life private. There are a lot of people who have led their private life in public and it's a complete shithole there. Now Mona ma'am is regretting. Not at all. Brilliant. Okay. अच्छा, एक और चीज है, लास्ट के 2 पॉइंट्स बचे हैं बस मेरे, उसके बाद ये नीचे डालना होगा सेल से. स्टॉप डिस्कवरिंग योरसेल्फ. ऐसे जरूरी नहीं है कि डिस्कवर करना है कि मैं क्या हूँ, स्पिरिचुअल एस्पेक्ट अपनी बाहर लेकर आनी है, जा जाके लोगों को बताना है कि आई एम दिस, आई एम. सब कुछ जरूरी नहीं है. यू कैन बी अ वेरी मॉडरेट पर्सन इन लाइफ एंड हैव द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल लाइफ. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ वेल्दी एंड ओवर अचीवर्स हु आर लीडिंग अ वेरी मिजरेबल लाइफ. And there are a lot of nice and normal human beings who have a beautiful life, who have a wonderful journey that they are on in their life. Be on that journey. Stop forcing yourself to be someone you aren't. Stop forcing yourself to कि मुझे ना समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि मैं क्या करियर लूं. अरे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, चेंज कर लेना करियर. मैंने 4 बार ही किया 8 साल में, 4 times. जेन्युइनली फर्क नहीं पड़ता. जो मन करे 11वीं 12वीं के बाद वो करो. अगर पेरेंट्स प्रेशर दे रहे हैं इंजीनियरिंग का तो इंजीनियरिंग कर लो, डॉक्टर बन जाओ, बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत पैसा है. सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग में बहुत पैसा है. 90 लाख रुपए का पैकेज, 90 लाख रुपए का पैकेज है. वर्क फ्रॉम होम, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के चार्जेस नहीं, गुड़गांव नहीं जाना, कुछ नहीं करना, कोई रोना धोना नहीं है, घर बैठो, 90 लाख रुपए सीधा जेब के अंदर. से काट देते हैं सीएस, बट सीएस में बोल देता पापा को. there was a brother's friend basically who told me, और 90 लाख रुपए और मैं गाड़ियां खरीद लेती हूँ, घर के फोन्स खरीद लेती हूँ. मैं गालियां ना सुनता हूँ, फिर भी निकाल देता हूँ. Okay, last point, very important. ये जो पूरा जर्नी होता है ना तुम्हारा पैसे का, बिजनेस का, स्टफ है, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. बट इसके अलावा ना, मेंटेन वेरी गुड रिलेशनशिप्स, वेरी ब्यूटीफुल फ्रेंडशिप्स. जब आपका बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा होगा, जब आपका फ्रेंड्स का टाइटल ट्रैक तो सुना ही होगा सब. जब आपका बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा होगा, जब आपकी लाइफ जैसे मैं डिप्रेशन में था, जब मुझे पैनिक अटैक्स हो रहा था, मेरे दोस्तों को पैनिक अटैक्स हो रहा था, हमारा कॉमन है, एक को होता है दूसरे को होता है. It's like we have a kitty party of depression and mental illness. Every month किसी को कोई mental रोग हो, very common with us. ठीक है. So maintain good relationships and maintain beautiful friendships जो आपको इस मोमेंट पे सपोर्ट कर. अगर आप किसी को आके 12 बजे कॉल कर रहे हो, crying your heart out, तुम लोग बहुत रोने वाले उसको. And you're crying your heart out after you had a very bad day at job and very bad day at business में तो हर दिन बुरा होता है. But you had a very bad day, so those people should be there, because if they aren't, and they should be there to celebrate your success. No amount of money, no amount of fame, recognition, getting featured next city or bakwas. those people should be there to celebrate it. If you don't have those people, and those people will generate from here, from your school. कॉलेज में जाके दोस्तियां बहुत फेक फ्रेंडशिप्स मिलती हैं. दे विल जज यू और नॉट. स्कूल में दे नॉट जजिंग यू बिकॉज जब आप आसपास देखते हो ना, द फ्रंट रो इज इन ब्लू एंड द बैक रो मेरा नहीं था, एंड द बैक रो इज इन रेड. यू आर ऑल वन राइट नाउ. कॉलेज में जाके यू आर डिफरेंट एंटिटीज. Maintain those friendships from now. Be cordial with your parents. I know a lot of you guys are not very cordial with your parents, but try to be cordial with your parents. Try to understand कि वो लोग चाहते क्या हैं आपसे, rather than rebellious होना कि नहीं बैठ ऐसा मत करो. सुनो कि वो चाहते क्या है, and probably be the best with your sister because she can actually give you a career. And be on stage because of her. So, and thank you for my. And you can ask all the questions you want after the session.
Thank you so much, Simarji and Ravneet. In your effortless manner, you just refreshed us with your humor. Now, next, we have Arun Kumar, who passed out from ITL in 2013. Today is Dr. Arun Kumar, currently working as general physician and surgeon in PV Paths Hospital under Ministry of Health, Government of NCT, Delhi. He has also worked as an emergency and trauma care specialist with Surya Lakshmi Hospital, Sanjeevani Maternity and Child Hospital, West Delhi, Ganpati Nursing Home. Kindly come up on the stage, Dr. Arun. Stage is all yours.
Very, very thankful for ITL Public School. And आज मैं यहाँ पे जहाँ पे इसमें केवल 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 यहाँ पे बैठे हुए टीचर के कारण. मैं ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लूंगा. बिल्कुल साफ शब्दों में जो होती है ना, 3-4-5 मिनट में मैं आपको मोटिवेट कर दूंगा. और और 5-7 मिनट लूंगा आपके कोर्स के रिगार्डिंग और 5-7 मिनट लूंगा आपके एज वेल आपकी जो भी क्वेरीज होंगी. ठीक है. पहले तो मैं आपको बता दूं, आई एम डॉक्टर अरुण कुमार. आज मुझे डॉक्टर यहाँ पे कहने का थोड़ा भी इच्छा नहीं कर रहा अंदर से. मुझे थोड़ा भी वो नहीं लग रहा कि मैं डॉक्टर हूँ. आई एम जस्ट ओनली ए स्टूडेंट राइट नाउ. नथिंग, कुछ ही नहीं. क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो बैठे हैं ना, प्रदीप सर, वैशाली में, आप मानोगे नहीं, मैं एक ऐसा बंदा हूँ जिसके पास एक छोटी कौड़ी भी नहीं थी. एक सिंगल नथिंग रुपीज मेरे पास. और आप मानोगे नहीं, यहाँ के टीचर ने मुझे पैसे दे दे के पढ़ा. मतलब बिहार से आके दिल्ली के अंदर सर्वाइव करना इट इज टफ, टफ गेम होती है. और ये एक डॉक्टर बनना नामुमकिन सा खेल, उसमें भी एक सर्जन, इमरजेंसी स्पेशलिस्ट. डेली आई एम सीइंग राइट नाउ 800 पेशेंट पर डे एज ए इमरजेंसी. और मतलब तभी ये
मतलब अंदर से कभी आता भी नहीं है कि यार यहाँ कैसे पहुंच गए। अभी सब धीरे धीरे करके मैं आपको पर्ची खोलता हूँ कि ये चीज की जर्नी कैसे गुजरी है। क्योंकि मैम जब मुझसे बातें कर रही थी तो मैंने मैम को बोला कि मैं पीपीटी से नहीं करूँगा। आई वॉन्ट टू इंटरेक्ट विद द स्टूडेंट डायरेक्टली। मैं स्टूडेंट के साथ, क्योंकि जो हमारी प्रोफेशन है एक डॉक्टर की, उसमें क्या होती है, एक संस्कृत में कहावत है, स्वस्थ से स्वास्थ्य रक्षणम अथर्वस्य विकार विशेषणम च। इसका मतलब ये होता है कि जो इंसान स्वस्थ है ना, उसको स्वस्थ रखो, और जिसको यदि कोई विकार हो गया, प्रॉब्लम हो गई, तो उससे उसको फ्री हो करो। डॉक्टर का मेन ये होता है, ठीक है। तो यहाँ तक के पहुंचने में 2013 में मैंने यहाँ से 12वीं के एग्जाम दिया, 12वीं का पास किया। उसमें सबसे बड़ा मेन योगदान, आज यहाँ पे मैम आपके पास नहीं है, किरण धर्माधिकारी मैम, ठीक है। मैं उनके लिए मतलब कहीं से भी कोई ऐसा जगह नहीं होगा जो अभी भी नहीं है बैठे, ठीक है। और कोई भी यहाँ पे जितने भी टीचर मेरे यहाँ पे इन हार्ट, ठीक है, एक एक के बारे में मुझे सब कुछ पता है कि कहाँ कौन सर क्या कर रहे हैं। अब हम बात करते हैं यहाँ पे कि हम मेडिकल में कैसे इंटर करते हैं और उसके बाद उसकी आगे की कहानी क्या है। पहली बात तो ये जो आप फील्ड है मेडिकल, इसमें आप कोई भी गड़बड़ नहीं कर सकते हो काम, बिल्कुल। क्योंकि आपको डायरेक्टली डील करना है पब्लिक के साथ। यदि 1% भी आपके अंदर कमी है तो आप समझ लो आप कुछ भी नहीं, आप निकल जाओ यहाँ से। क्योंकि कोई आपको जिंदगी आपके हाथ में डाल रहा है ना, ये समझ लो वो घर वाला है, ठीक है। मेडिकल में आने से पहले आपको पहले क्लास 12वीं के अंदर पीसीबी, मैं आपसे एक रिक्वेस्ट ये भी करना चाहूंगा, जो बच्चे बिल्कुल मेडिकल में आना चाहते हैं उनको मैथ लेने की कोई जरूरत नहीं, इट्स जस्ट ए टाइम पास, मेरा मान। क्यों, मैं बता रहा हूँ। जिनका बिल्कुल उद्देश्य ये है कि मेरे को डॉक्टर बनना है, जिनको फिक्स है कि मेरे को डॉक्टर बनना ही बनना है, तो वो टाइम आप अदर सब्जेक्ट पे लगा के ना कि फोकस हो जाओ 3 सब्जेक्ट पे। इससे आपका टाइम भी बचेगा, नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस भी अच्छे निकलेंगे, और आपका जो आउटपुट है वो ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा। मैंने देखा है मैंने देखा है कि ये सब चीज प्रॉब्लम कहाँ से क्रिएट हो रही है। जैसे आप 4 सब्जेक्ट ले लेते हो, फिजिक्स भी लेते हो, केमिस्ट्री भी ले लेते हो, बायोलॉजी भी लेते हो, मैथ्स भी ले लेते हो, कोई बात नहीं है, आपको आगे चल के यूज भी नहीं होना है उसका। यदि आप फिक्स हो कि मेरे को डॉक्टर बनना है, मैथ को हटा दो भाई, क्या लेके चलो, कुछ भी फायदा नहीं। यदि आपको इंजीनियर बनना ही है तो बायोलॉजी को हटा दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, क्योंकि फिक्स होती है चीजें। आगे चल के दो दो नाव पे चलोगे ना तो प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट होना है, ठीक है। और बाद बाद में कहोगे कि नहीं मेरे को सक्सेस नहीं मिली है। अब देखना है सक्सेस में कैसे 4 चांद लगाते हैं। यदि मैं नीट की बात करूं, नीट में मेरे 56 रैंक ऑल इंडिया, एंड आईपी यूनिवर्सिटी में 12th रैंक। उसके बाद इसके बाद इसके भी बहुत पापड़ बेलने पड़े हैं, इधर से इधर तरफना बनाया, रास्ते रास्ते में बहुत भटका हूँ मैं बीच के बीच में, लेकिन उतना टाइम नहीं है कि मैं इस चीज को एक्सप्लोर कर पाऊँ। आपको यदि नीट के लिए जाना है, नीट के लिए फोकस्ड हो बिल्कुल कि मुझे नीट करना है, मुझे निकालना है नीट का एंट्रेंस यार, क्योंकि दूसरा कोई रास्ता नहीं है डॉक्टर बनने का, इंडिया एंड फॉरेन में। यदि आप फॉरेन में भी एडमिशन लेते हो तो आपको नीट क्वालिफाई करनी पड़ेगी, यदि इंडिया में लेते हो तब भी आपको नीट क्वालिफाई करनी ही पड़ेगी। उसमें 3 सब्जेक्ट है, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायोलॉजी। और उसके अंदर आपको देखा जाए तो 90 क्वेश्चन बायोलॉजी के होते हैं, 45 क्वेश्चन आपके फिजिक्स के होते हैं, 45 क्वेश्चन आपके केमिस्ट्री के होते हैं, और 5-5 क्वेश्चन सबके क्या होते हैं, दैट इज आपकी चॉइस की होती है। तो टोटल देखा जाए तो 50 200 क्वेश्चन होते हैं, और उसमें से आपको गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज में जाना है। इंडिया के टॉप मोस्ट मेडिकल कॉलेज यानी एम्स, मौलाना आजाद कॉलेज, लोकनायक कॉलेज, लोकनायक हॉस्पिटल्स, यहाँ पे यूसीएमएस की इसकी बात करूं तो ऑल इंडिया 720 का पेपर होता है, उसमें से कम नहीं तो 650 प्लस मार्क्स है। इससे नीचे भी आप लेके आते हो करके कुछ भी नहीं। ये तो प्राइवेट सेक्टर, सॉरी गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर की बात हो गई। प्राइवेट के लिए भी आप पैसा रख लेना क्योंकि इंडिया में कोई भी प्राइवेट मेडिकल कॉलेज की फी 15 लाख पर ईयर से नीचे है ही नहीं, ठीक है। 15 लाख से नॉर्मल, ये मैं नॉर्मल कॉलेज की बात कर रहा हूँ, डीम्ड यूनिवर्सिटी की तो बात ही नहीं कर रहा। डीम्ड यूनिवर्सिटी की कम से कम नहीं तो 35 लाख से 25 से 35 लाख पर ईयर, मतलब 2 करोड़ कम से कम आपको पूरे 5 साल की डिग्री में लग जानी, ठीक है। तो मैं आपसे बस ये रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, आप जब भी फोकस होना गवर्नमेंट मेडिकल कॉलेज के लिए, गवर्नमेंट पे जाओ, गवर्नमेंट से सुविधा ज्यादा कहीं है ही नहीं, क्योंकि ना वहां पे आपको कोई सर्विस मिलने वाली है। प्राइवेट कॉलेज में क्लिनिशियन नहीं है, तो मुझे ये भी नहीं है, हमारे पास प्रोफेसर नहीं है, ये प्रॉब्लम्स आएंगी, ठीक है, आपके प्राइवेट कॉलेज में। गवर्नमेंट में क्या होती है, ऑन पेपर भी रहती है, और जो भी गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज में पहुंचता है बंदा, याद रखना वो मेहनत से पहुंचता है। और जब मेहनत करने वाले बगल में मेहनत करने वाले मिलेंगे तो हमेशा तुम भी मेहनत करोगे, ये फिक्स्ड है लाइफ। यदि बगल वाला बंदा सही नहीं है, बगल वाला अच्छे लोग नहीं है, तो ऑटोमेटिक आप उस लेवल पे पहुंच ही नहीं पाओगे। तो गवर्नमेंट में क्या होता है कि आपके बगल वाला भी टॉपर, उसके बगल वाला भी टॉपर है, आप टॉपर ही टॉपर बनते चले जाते हो। ये सबसे अच्छी क्वालिटी। इसीलिए जितने भी यहाँ पे बैठे हुए आईटी, ठीक है, उनको पता है बगल वाला हमारा टॉपर है, अपने आप क्वालिटी रेस हो जाएगी, उसको कहने की कोई जरूरत नहीं हो, ठीक है। तो आप याद रखना कि हमेशा यदि टॉपर बन के रहना चाहते हो और टॉपर जगह पे पहुंचना चाहते हो, तो आप उसी के साथ अपने आप को रखना शुरू कर दो। और एंट्रेंस एग्जाम, एंट्रेंस एग्जाम में पैनिक होने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या होगा, सिलेक्शन नहीं होगा और कुछ नहीं हो सकता। सिलेक्शन नहीं होने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि तुम लाइफ में गिर चुके हो, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। यदि आपने सिलेक्शन लेना है, शिद्दत से लग जाओ, शिद्दत से लग जाओ। और उसके लिए ऐसा नहीं है कि आधे घंटे 2 घंटे, हमने यहाँ दिल्ली के माहौल में मैंने बच्चों को देखा है कि 2 घंटे पढ़ लिए, अरे हमने तो बहुत पढ़ लिया, 3 घंटे पढ़ लिया हमने, बहुत पढ़ लिया, अरे ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं। कम से कम नहीं तो पर डे का 17 से 18 घंटे का वर्किंग होनी चाहिए। 7 to 18 आवर्स पर डे विथ फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायोलॉजी, और साथ में आपकी स्कूल, यदि आप स्कूलिंग कर रहे हो तो स्कूल के साथ होनी चाहिए। यदि 16-17 घंटे नहीं निकलती है, लोग कहते हैं 16-17 घंटे में पढ़ेंगे क्या। एक बात सुनिए, जब डूब जाओगे ना उसके अंदर तो टाइम का पता नहीं चलेगा, ठीक है, रियलिटी। यदि आप एक बार कोई थ्योरी लेकर बैठ जाओ, देखो टाइम कैसे निकलता है, पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि कहाँ तक आप निकलते हुए चले जाते हो। तो एक टाइम पे मत काउंट करो अपने आप को कि मेरे को 2 घंटा पढ़ना है। ये देखो कि हमारे नीट की बात करूँ तो 140 चैप्टर है फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायोलॉजी को लेकर, पूरी मुझे याद है अभी। कुछ भी पूछ सकते हो फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायोलॉजी का, कहीं से भी, किसी भी कोना, एनसीईआरटी का कोई भी पेज, मैं बताने के लिए रेडी हूँ, ठीक है। क्योंकि अभी भी मैं नीट के बच्चों को और मेडिकल के बच्चों को पढ़ा रहा हूँ, ठीक है। तो एक समय यहाँ पे मैम बैठी हुई है, आप उनसे पूछना मैं इंग्लिश में कहीं पास नहीं गई। तो मैंने इंग्लिश में कभी पास नहीं किया इस स्कूल में, लेकिन 95 मार्क्स थे मेरे इंग्लिश में, मुझे भी नहीं पता कहाँ से।
Extra classes of English. And I had just come to ITL. He used to force me for an extra class. Ma'am, you have to take my extra class. The kind of dedication he has. We still remember Arun for the kind of dedication he has. Every class.
और
He's a doctor, but let me tell you, his handwriting is perfect.
और दूसरी चीज ये है, और मैं फिजिक्स में भी पास नहीं करता था, और बगल में फिजिक्स के सर बैठे हुए हैं प्रदीप सर, वो कह रहे एक बार मैंने पास किया 11 पूरी यूटीज वगैरह हो गए थे, बोले सर आप अरुण पास कर गया, साढ़े 23 नंबर से क्या है। आज देखो मैं फिजिक्स का टीचर भी हूँ, केमिस्ट्री भी पढ़ा रहा हूँ, बायोलॉजी पढ़ा रहा हूँ।
नहीं जाते थे कि हमारे पीछे ये कभी पास नहीं हो पाता था, बट ये हमारे पीछे पीछे जब तक घूमता रहेगा जब तक ये चैप्टर समझ ना ले। हम टालने की कोशिश करते थे बट ये नहीं होता, तो वो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट।
तो यही चीज है, मैं बोला ना कि यदि आपको सक्सेस चाहिए, इस धरती पे कोई भी गुरु का जाकर पैर पकड़, तुम्हें इतना ऊपर ले जाके रख देगा ना कि वहां से तुम वापस भी नहीं आते। केवल एक बार करके तो देखो, हो जाओगे। अब मैं मेडिकल के बाद आगे बढ़ता हूँ और बताता हूँ, ये तो मेरी गवर्नमेंट जितनी भी थी वहां तक बढ़ा, लाइफ में भी थोड़ा और डेवलप करनी, तो कैसे करते। देखो मैं मेडिकल में अभी देखा जाए तो 12th बेसिक पे कमीशन, ठीक है, उसकी अप्रोक्सीमेटली आप देखो तो 1.7 लाख पर मंथ बेसिक सैलरी होती है, ठीक है। ये टीए तो बहुत पता करती है, बहुत सारे। ये तो एक जो डॉक्टर को जो रिवॉर्ड मिलता है ना कि भाई पैसे कमा रहे तुम बैठ बैठ के, उसके पीछे उसकी मेहनत देखिए, कितनी मेहनत। आई हैव कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि मैं 3 दिन तक सोता नहीं हूँ, 2 दिन नहीं सोता हूँ, एक दिन मतलब लगता है कि यार कब सोऊंगा। ठीक है, घर वाले से मिलके घर में देखा जाए तो आई हैव लॉस्ट माई बोथ पेरेंट्स इन दिस जर्नी। मैंने अपने आप मतलब फैमिली के दोनों पेरेंट्स को खो दिया, माता पिता भी एक्सपायर कर गए, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी अंदर से जो कसक होती है ना उसको पूरा करना है। ठीक है, तो इसको पूरा करने में सबसे बड़ा योगदान कहाँ से, आपको कैसे सब चीज वेव जनरेट करनी हो मैं बताता हूँ। देखो, यदि आप किसी सिस्टम में घुसते हो तो पहले सिस्टम में ही सिस्टम के साथ रहना चाहते हो या सिस्टम के अंदर रहना चाहते हो, ये बड़ा मैटर करता है। यदि आप सिस्टम के साथ रहोगे तो आपकी केवल नॉर्मल लाइफ चलेगी, और सिस्टम के अंदर घुस गए ना फिर तुम कुछ और बना दोगे उसके। इसका मैं एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ। जब मैं मेडिकल के अंदर घुसा तो मैं दवा लिखता था, दवा अभी भी लिखता हूँ। तो बहुत सारे एमआर आते हैं मेरे को, कहते हैं कि भाई मेरे कंपनी का लिख दो, इस पे एमआर की सर 40% आपके पास चली जाए। ये मेडिकल का मैं वर्स्ट कंडीशन नहीं बता रहा। मैं बोला सर भाई ऐसा है कि मैं क्यों ऐसा ऐसा नहीं कर सकता, पब्लिक में देखा जाए तो दिस इज मेरा एक रॉन्ग इमेज जाता है। जो भी एक ब्रांड कंपनी है उसी के नाम से हमें लिखना है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद भी आपको गलत करने के लिए प्रेशराइज करते हैं कि ये करो ऐसे करो, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी मैं नहीं लिखता। हम बोले कि जिस पब्लिक जिसने आपको दिया है ना उसको रिवॉर्ड देना है। ठीक है, यदि आप पैसे कमाने के लिए आए हो इस सेक्टर्स में फिर वो गलत चीज है। अब इस सिस्टम में घुसना कैसे? अब देखो, यदि मैं बिजनेस की बात कर रहा हूँ कि बिजनेस कैसे ग्रोथ करते हैं मेडिकल में, और मैंने जो ग्रोथ किया वो भी मैं बताऊंगा। दो चीजें, यदि आपने घुसा, आपने सिस्टम देखा कि नहीं भाई मार्केट में बहुत सारे लोग जो है ना हैवी पैसा कमा रहे, एमआर हो गए, आपके प्राइवेट सेक्टर्स में लैब वाले हो गए, उसके बाद में आपके जो अदर सेक्टर्स है, जो इंस्ट्रूमेंटल है, सर्जिकल्स है, इस सब में क्या होते हैं लगभग बहुत अच्छे लग रहे मार्जिन चल रहे होते हैं। तो क्यों ना, यदि आपकी अर्निंग अच्छी है और आपकी स्कोप अच्छी है और मेंटेलिटी अच्छी है तो मुझे इसमें मैं ग्रोथ कर जाऊंगा, तो आपको क्या काम करना, उस सिस्टम के साथ अंदर घुसना पड़ेगा। आपको अपनी सर्जिकल निकाल लगानी पड़ेगी, अपनी एमआर बनानी पड़ेगी। धीरे धीरे मैंने ऐसे कर करके मैंने एक कंपनी खड़ा की, उसका नाम है एसके ग्रुप सर्विस प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी। आज के डेट में वो कंपनी की 4.5 बिलियंस, ठीक है, टर्न ओवर है पर मंथ पर ईयर। ठीक है, और इसके अंदर मैंने स्टार फ्रेंचाइजी मैंने इनके साथ किया है। स्टार पैथ लैब, अपने नाम सुना भी होगा, स्टार पैथ लैब संजीव राठी जो उनके ऑनर्स है ना, उनके साथ मैंने इनका कोलेब्रेशन किया कि भाई ऐसा करते हैं, हम दोनों मिलते हैं और दोनों मिलके कुछ अच्छा सा इसमें प्रोडक्ट लेके आते हैं। क्योंकि जितने भी गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के बंदे होते हैं वो एनपीएस पे होते हैं। एनपीएस का मतलब है कि नॉन प्राइवेटाइजेशन सेक्टर्स में आप काम नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हमारे पास कुछ ऐसे रूल्स है, कंडीशंस है कि 4 o'clock के बाद आप कर सकते हो। ऐसा नहीं है कि 4 o'clock से पहले भी आपकी जो ड्यूटी आवर है उसमें आप नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन 4 o'clock के बाद आप कर सकते हैं एज पर रूल। तो हमने धीरे धीरे क्या किया, बिजनेस ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर दिया, और ग्रोथ कर करके हमने आज के डेट में दोनों जगह मैंने अपनी हॉस्पिटल लॉन्च कर दी। एक जौनपुर सिटी के अंदर 50 बेडेड हॉस्पिटल आई हैव लॉन्च माय ऑनलाइन, मैंने वहां पे किया। एंड second my hospitals, 200 bedded hospitals in Bihar. I am currently right now launching in the February, जो कि फुल्ली प्राइवेटाइजेशन सेक्टर में कैंसर का फ्री इलाज करूंगा पूरे इंडिया। मेरा पूरा इंडिया हमेशा याद रखो, सीकर मत बनो, यू हैव टू मेक अ क्रिएट, दिस इज बाकी नीड के रिगार्डिंग कोई मेडिकल सेक्टर से रिगार्डिंग यदि डाउट हो तो यू कैन आस्क। ठीक है,
Thank you so much, Dr. Arun. Next, Yams Rao, who passed out from our institution in 2015, is by profession a pilot with Indigo. Flying the Airbus 320 as a senior first officer. Jan doesn't mind admitting that she learned how to fly a plane even before she learned how to drive a car. While training to become an aviator, she completed her bachelor's in aviation from the Institute of Aviation and Aviation Safety, University of Mumbai. Now flying for over 6 years, she has flown second in command in various Vande Bharat relief flights conducted for the facilitation of essential cargo such as oxygen concentrators, vaccines, and transportation of people to reunite them with their families. In addition to this, she brought back 1,000 plus distressed Indian students stuck in war-torn Ukraine under the biggest rescue mission successfully carried out by the Indian government during Operation Ganga. With about 2,500 flight hours, she recently got her airline transport pilot license and looks forward to starting her command training. Apart from her love for flying, she's also passionate about yoga and adventure bike riding. Over to Gyan.
Thank you so much, Priyanka ma'am. That was a lovely introduction. A very warm namaskar to my lovely teachers. So good to see your faces after so long. And a very warm namaskar to all my junior athletes. A big round of applause for all of you. I wanting to know what you do in life and focusing on that one goal and moving towards it. This is what we are here for today. So let's begin. What is the aviation? So I'll start with my first slide, which is इससे पहले वाली. Yeah. So first of all, I want to tell you guys all the pictures in my presentation are my personal pictures. These are what I clicked, or I would be one of them, which is to give you all a real idea of the life I live today as a pilot. So let's start. What is aviation? Aviation is a very vast field. I am a part of civil aviation. There are various subcategories of aviation, like defense aviation, which is flying for the Air Force, the Army, the Navy. Then you have sports aviation. People fly microlight aircrafts or people fly gliders. They're very light aircrafts and even acrobatic aircrafts. You must have seen, anybody seen Red Bull? Red Bull racing? Dubai mein hoti hai. Yeah, a lot of people from class 11 I see four hands. All right, so that's sport aviation. And I am from civil aviation. अच्छा ये बताओ who was inspired to be a pilot today sitting here? Let's see how many hands go up. More hands from 11th, less from the 10th class. All right. That's good. I hope all the 11th class people have taken non-med. सबने physics और maths लिया है? नहीं लिया? अच्छा, okay. We'll come to that. We'll come to that. So let's start by how I started. I started my journey. 10th class तक, I was a huge fan of theatre. All my teachers know I spent very less time in class, and I was always doing something, some kind of extracurricular. And my most favorite being theatre. 10th May, I told my parents I'll be taking arts. And they suggested that your options after your 12th will be very, you will have a very narrow lane to choose from. So they suggested to me that I should take non-medical. And on their suggestion, which I can thank them now, that I took non-medical. My craze for flying started in class 11th. There was a career fair, just like there's a career orientation right now. We had a fair in class 11th and उसमें एक kiosk लगा था Indian Air Force का. तो मैंने उसमें aircraft की photo देखी. And I went to that sir and I said, sir, मुझे pilot बनना है, so how should I go about it? He said, finish your 12th, do your physics and maths, and finish your graduation, and then we'll see. I said, sir, मुझे fighter plane चलाना. He said, girls are not allowed to fly fighter planes. So I said, oh, then what should I do? He said, beta, दूसरा aircraft चला लेना. Fighter planes are not allowed in India. So that is the time I realized that if I want to fly, I'll be limited to a transport aircraft. I went home, I told my dad, I said, I want to fly. Now, be it a transport aircraft, but I want to fly an aircraft, which is where it started. Which brings me to my next slide, your educational qualification. So you need physics, mathematics, and English in your 10+2 with minimum 60%. Now that sounds like a very average score, right? Why do you think we have that score? Not an 80 or a 90. Anybody? Okay, I'll tell you. Flying requires basic common sense. It requires logic. It requires nothing above average. You just have to use your brain, your common sense, and you can fly. You really can fly. So the minimum you need is a 60%. And for you to start, your minimum age has to be 16 years for a student pilot license, 17 for a private pilot license, and 18 years for a commercial pilot license. Any questions up till now for the educational qualification? आपको क्वेश्चन है? There is a website where you apply for a student pilot license. For that, you need to pass a very basic paper, which is mentioned on the DGCA website. Now, what is DGCA? DGCA is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. It is the official governing body of aviation in India. So whatever you do when you start your flying is to be approved by DGCA. Got it? So DGCA website, you'll see there's a very basic paper and you have to fill a few forms. And that is how you get your student pilot license, which is the very basic license to start your flight. Thereafter, we will move on with the exams and the flight training for the following licenses. Did I answer your question? All right, perfect. Moving on to the next slide. Very, very important topic. As far as flying is concerned, very, very important. So you need to be medically fit to fly. And you're being checked for that every year. First comes the class 2 medical examination by a DGCA empaneled doctor. These are your basic tests, your blood tests, urine tests, and a few other general tests. Once you pass this, after 6 months of getting your class 2 medical, you are eligible to apply for a class 1 medical. Now, this class 1 medical happens only at 2 places all over India. First is the Air Force Central Medical Establishment in New Delhi. And second is the Indian Aerospace Medical Establishment in Bangalore. This is where your class 1 medical happens. After that, you need a valid class 1 medical to fly. So every year, it says validity 1 year. So every year, you get a renewal. And if you have a valid medical, only then you can fly. But before you continue to start your coaching or start your training, I would suggest to all of you, get your medicals done. That's a very, very important step. Okay, moving on. That's the fun part. Now we come to the training of how to become a pilot. Commercial pilot license theory. You've got 5 subjects, just like we have subjects right now. You've got aviation meteorology, which is the study of weather, the study of upper skies, how the winds prevail, what systems come into India, what weather systems come outside of India, how are the summers, how are the winters. It's a study, complete study of your weather. Then comes your navigation. You learn about the instruments that you use in your flight, how to use them, what to do if they don't work properly, and how to fly without them. Then comes air regulation. So as you know, हर जगह कुछ ना कुछ कानून होता है, right? So in aviation also there are laws. And these laws are all mentioned in the subject of air regulation. And when we fly in the air, we have to know what rules we have to follow. So this is a very important subject. Then comes the aircraft technical, to learn how to fly the aircraft. What are the flight controls? What are the laws of flying? इसमें physics आती है, प्रदीप सर को ज़्यादा पता होगा. Most of these basics you learn in your class 11th and 12th. Bernoulli's principle आता है किसी को? बताना सर. Where are the science students? I can see one small hand coming up. Go ahead, it's okay. You can be wrong. It's okay. We're all wrong sometimes. Go ahead, give it a try. Sir बताएंगे. Pradeep sir, who's gonna tell me what is Bernoulli's principle? आपसे भी पूछूंगी sir. So, basic Bernoulli's principle पे जहाज उड़ता है. So as Pradeep sir rightly said, your static pressure and your dynamic pressure is constant. अगर आपको, if you need lift to fly an aircraft, you will also need drag to maintain where it is. Simple Bernoulli's principle. It is also used in ships. When you fly, go into submarines and stuff, then also you need Bernoulli's principle. So in the air and in water, both Bernoulli's principle is applicable. So ये हो गया basics. I'm not going to bore the non-med and the common students. I mean the commons and the art students. So that is your Bernoulli's principle. So that is an insight into what aircraft technical is. Then comes a very interesting subject, which is called radio telephony. It is about how you talk, how you communicate in aviation. It's very important to learn how to speak in aviation language. Like today, I'm speaking in English language, partly using Hindi language. There is an aviation language. Every word, every letter has a phonetic. For example, A is alpha in aviation language. B is bravo. So that is our language. Numbers are not just numbers. One is one. I'll give you a very nice example. 9, for example, is called niner because 5 and 9 sound very similar on the headphones, right? If I say 919 as a 519, you cannot make out if it's a 519 or a 919. And there is no scope for confusion here. So there are very specific phonetics in aviation, and radio telephony teaches you that. Now you must be seeing these 4 subjects I've mentioned, they're all governed by DGCA. But radio telephony is governed by WPC, which is the Wireless Planning Commission of India. They take care of the telecommunications happening in India, and they also take care of the radio telephony exams. These exams happen every year at a gap of 3 months, and you can give as many attempts as you want. So you apply on the website, then you get a center. You go to the center, and you give your paper. Some of the papers have OMR sheets, and some of the papers are now online. How to prepare? Big question. Study करेंगे. For others, we have private tutors, there are coaching centers, online courses, and even flights. Coaching centers में there's a big hub in Dwarka Sector 7, Rampur Chowk, which is the hub of aviation. You'll see a lot of coaching centers there for all 4 subjects. And then the 5th one, radio telephony. So that is how you prepare for your theory exams. Moving on is the flying part, which is the actual fun. So when you start flying, this is how your aircraft looks. I've tried to keep it more realistic. This is the aircraft that will be flying when you start your flight. The first thing that you come across is the single engine flying. एक engine है, it's a turboprop, it has a fan, and you will fly that aircraft. So उस aircraft पे what milestones do you achieve? You do your flight. First time you fly an aircraft all alone. Then you do cross country. Cross country is like flying from Delhi to Lucknow or Delhi to Jaipur. These are called cross country flying. And then you have basic flight maneuvers. For example, tape turns. snow flight, barrel rolls, all kind of acrobatic things that we can do in our aircraft. Then we have instrument flying. So I hate to break it to you, but the flying that we do right now in airlines is all instrument flying. It's less of looking out and flying, it's more of looking inside and flying. That is instrument flying. Instrument flying, we wear a hood on our head and then we just fly looking at our instruments. We're not allowed to see outside. That's about instrument flying. Then we have our last stage, which is our multi-engine flying. Now, multi-engine aircraft has two engines on both the sides with fans, again, turboprop engine. And on this aircraft, you basically do all that you learned on your single engine aircraft, but in a multi-crew cockpit environment, because you're getting trained to fly in a multi-cockpit crew environment. Two people flying one aircraft. Total flight hours that you need is about 200 hours to complete your commercial pilot training. That's all. And now you should be getting your CPL once you're done with this. Moving on to the next slide. Now that you have a CPL in hand, your commercial pilot license in hand, now you think, aage kya? I have to work somewhere. To work somewhere, you need to learn how to fly a big aircraft, a jet engine aircraft, the ones that you usually travel in now. So to learn how to fly a jet aircraft, you do a course called type rating. And now the aircraft that you train for looks something like this. In the theory part, you learn how to fly a jet engine, which is very different from your training aircrafts, the turboprops I was telling you about. And basically, you learn how to fly in a multi-crew environment. Again, learning how to fly the aircraft because this is a different aircraft with different engines. And then comes the interesting part, which is a simulator. Now you have a full motion simulator where you take off, you land, you do all your emergencies. It's actually like flying a real aircraft. But you get to practice all the failures, all the emergencies that you cannot do in real life. After this, move on to the next slide. Now you're a fully ready person who's ready to get a job in an airline. You have a commercial pilot license. Your flying hours. Then they'll help you do your type rating, and then they'll give you a job as well. That is why it's called an integrated training program. Next is a vacancy for a back to the next is a vacancy for a CPL holder. We all know what a CPL holder is now. Sometimes companies come up with vacancies for CPL holders. They will take you in and then they will send you for your type rating. The third is hiring a type rated pilot. After I finished my training. So I started off as a junior first officer. Then I was a first officer. which is good pay and benefits. In the good pay, of course, your starting salary as a junior first officer is close to 11 lakhs a year. Yeah, it's good. And it gets better. Then you come to the benefits. Benefits are free tickets for your family. That's an amazing thing. Your family's going to be super happy with a pilot. And you get to travel. You get to travel a lot. The family gets to travel a lot because of the benefit. Next in line is travel. Like one of the students said, I love to travel. And I've traveled a lot because of my job. So I'm so thankful to Aviation for helping me travel the world. Then you got great office views. I bet nobody has better office views than me. Nobody. I'll show you some later. Then comes pride of uniform. I love wearing uniform. How many of you do? Anybody got a kick for that uniform thing? Yeah? Which one? Which uniform? Army. Nice. So you got the pride of the uniform. I'm sure a lot of you love doing a job that has a nice uniform. So you're very proud. And then comes passion for flying, which is of course there. How many of you have a passion for flying here? You do? That's great. I have a passion for flying, and whenever I'm in flight, I love looking outside and just thinking to myself, God, how did I come here? So those are the benefits and pros and cons of being a pilot. Moving on to the next slide. Now this was a stressful time for all of us. I'm sure a lot of your parents were also frontline workers here, and huge respect to all of them who left their families behind and went out to work. A huge round of applause just for your parents, all the frontline workers. So the first picture, the one in the middle that you see, this one is an international flight that we operated to Muscat, and it had a lot of cargo, a lot of laborers going from Delhi to Muscat. The one to the left is a less stressful flight, so I'm very happy in that one. And the one to the right that you see is when the restrictions were removed, so we only wear gloves then. This is a picture with my entire crew. My captain's inside, he's working, and that's my set of cabin crew. And this is again another domestic flight that we operated. As you see, there are no passengers on board. This was a empty flight with only cargo. We were carrying back seats and oxygen concentrators. All right, moving on to the next slide. These are some of my clicks that I love to see again and again and again. And I'm sure I'll see plenty more in the future. So these are some great pictures of weather you see here. This was a very big cumulonimbus cloud, it's called. And we had to deviate and we had to get out from this little hole that we found. That again is a big weather system. We had to deviate from that. This right here is Turkey. We were descending into Istanbul. That is the coast of Isaac. And the upper two ones are pretty high in the sky. I don't remember where they were taken, but definitely sometime in the day. So you got to experience this. You want to see this. That's all. Moving to the next slide. Thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. That's a picture of me when I completed my training. And this is the multi-engine aircraft that we fly. So you got one engine here, the other one on the other side. And that is me in my 3 stripes with my commercial pilot license, sitting on the aircraft I learned to fly. Oh, did you understand? Any questions? Yes, please go ahead. Can somebody get a mic for that student?
As you stated earlier, you were very passionate about flying and you wanted it as a future career. So there are many of them who are really passionate about flying but cannot clear the medical test. So what can they pursue later? If you're passionate about aviation, then there are a lot of other subcategories in aviation to join. If you're passionate about flying, you have to clear medical. See, you have a responsibility of so many people on your shoulders. So you have to make sure you're medically fit to fly. I'll be handing over to mic to Priyanka ma'am.
Didi, last down.
Auntie, bolo.
Yuvraj, take up the question. Please note it down. I'll call her again. She's right here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gyan. Thank you so much. Next, we have Rana Bedi. Passed out from ITL in 2013, and today she stands in front of all of us as a UG NET qualified scholar, a graduate in journalism and mass communication from Amity University, Gurugram, and a master's in mass communication with specialization in corporate communication from Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, Delhi. In 2021, she also served as a project associate for an international research project, a collaboration between the University of Highlands and Islands, Scotland, UK, and Amity University, Gurugram, India. She has worked extensively as a content writer, copywriter, voiceover artist in different organizations, and is currently pursuing PhD in journalism and mass communication from Amity University, Gurugram. Her thesis studies contemporary female stand-up comedies in India, especially their impact on female audiences. She has published research papers, presented her work at research conferences, also contributed her poetry to an anthology. Recently, she secured the third position for the presentation of a research paper at the annual research conference organized by Maitrey College, University of Delhi. She writes about topics She writes about topics at the intersection of gender and media literacy, and is currently exploring social media research. And as I said, she is currently a PhD scholar and assistant in Alumni University, Gurugram. Over to you, Rana. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka ma'am, for such a warm welcome. Obviously, while she was giving an introduction for me, I could see how elated she was, how absolutely proud she was, and I'm so happy that I make her proud. I make all the teachers, the lovely teachers who've taught me here so proud. And it's absolutely amazing to be back at, at my school. And there are a lot of differences which have come in me as a person, as a personality, since I passed out from ITL. Move on to the next one. So, talking about me and what I'm doing right now, in school while I was there, I was in the medical stream. And at that point of time, like I had been doing quite well in the science till the 10th standard. And the natural course of direction which I was suggested and which I knew for myself was that I have to go into the science. I took that trajectory, of course, and like everybody else, I was giving my best to all the different subjects I was appearing for. And yeah, according to me, I was giving my best, but there was always something missing. I felt like this isn't my true calling. Like there is more to me, and there is something that is different about me, which I need to express, which I need to do, and I need to pursue. So yeah, I was somebody who was always very active in debates in school. I was somebody who was always participating in poetry recitation competition, debates, Hindi and English alike. and I was always a very confident public speaker. I had won several awards in debate competition. So I always knew that the kind of traits or qualities which I can bank on in my personality are speaking and writing. So knowing that quite well, quite fully about myself, I knew that if I pursue something which makes me hone these skills, I will do very well. So that was my motivation. Pick mass communication and journalism for my profession. So when I passed out of ITL, I started my bachelor's in mass communication and journalism. Now, when I entered that field, obviously there were a lot of different options that I got to understand about. We had so we had these are all the different professions which you can go into. Right today, of course, there are so many new opportunities which have arisen out of journalism and mass communication. Of course, you can be a journalist, right? We all know that news anchor, reader. You can go into news production. You can go into films, right? There are so many opportunities in films. Of course, you people are aware of actors, there are script writers. There are all these people in the production, cinematography is there. All of these technical aspects are there. It's very, very exciting in the film world as well. Public relations, graphic designers, media educator, researcher, whether you are a researcher in the academia or in the industry, radio jockey, content writers, advertising, copywriters, client servicing, art, marketing executives, social media managers, content strategists, influencer marketing, and of course, YouTubers. So now there is a plethora of opportunities that are available to us when it comes to influencer marketing and YouTubers, right? There are so many people who have turned into influencers today who are having their own YouTube channels and they are really, really doing very well, right? Now, when I started out in the industry, I began with my career as a copywriter. So, of course, there were many different internships which allowed me to experience every kind of field. So, I have experience in public relations, I have an experience as a copywriter. I started actively doing copywriting as in ad agency. So, that was how it started for me. And while I was doing that, I felt like there is something more. Is I'm not there yet. There's more to me. I have more potential in me than what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm good at writing. I know that. This is something which I'm not going to stop. But there's more. There's more to me. So while I was doing my copywriting contract advertising, which is in Gurgaon, it's part of the largest advertising network called WPP Group. So while I was there as a copywriter, I started preparing for my PhD in journalism and mass communication. Now when I started looking into that, I realized that you have to become an assistant professor in a university, you have to clear your UGC NET exam. All right. Now there are two options. Either you clear your SET exam. SET is the state entrance test, right? This the state eligibility test, and the NET is the national eligibility test. So you have your NET and SET examinations set out for a lot of different subjects, and depending on the subject which you have done your masters in, you have to give this exam. So I appeared for my UGC NET exam in journalism and mass communication, and there I scored a 96.96 percentile. From there, when I scored that, I started my PhD career. So I joined Amit University. I started my PhD, and right now my PhD supervisor is Dr. Uday Narayan Singh. He's a world-renowned linguist, and he has to his credit 35 books that he has self-authored, 30 books that he has edited, and around 20 books which he has translated. In fact, he is the person who started the National Translation Mission in India. So I am lucky to be studying, working on my thesis under him. And this is my first publication, my first research paper, which is published in the Jadavpur Journal of Language, Semantics of Critical Media Literacy, Study of Satire in TV News Arts. So there are a lot of different news organizations today. In fact, on YouTube, you have a lot of new crop of news organizations which are very, very active and very, very popular. They have 1 million followers, and out of those, there's a new organization called News Laundry. So examined, I did an audience analysis for that. I did a textual analysis of their content, and out of that, this paper was born. So I got published here. Now, finally, right. So when we talk about pioneers in communication research, so now communication sciences research is something very, very interesting right now. And it's becoming very popular because of digital media. Right. Social media analysis is becoming very important and popular as of now. Because we are people who are constantly on social media. We are constantly, chatting with, our friends, whether it's on WhatsApp or we are doing something on Instagram. We are constantly part of a digital world. We are sharing about our personal lives. We are sharing about our experiences of what we see around us. Now, as part of this digital world, the kind of importance of this field has really, really grown. Even brands today are looking at digital media for a lot of things. They want to know how their audiences are reacting to their products and services so that they can do them better. Social media analysis is something very, very important right now. And that's what I'm focusing on as of now. So these are some of the universities, organizations around the world that are doing some very, very fantastic work in communication research. So I'm somebody who actively follows them, and I do plan. Like I'm beginning to teach now. I'm already teaching. I'm beginning to start my career as assistant professor, and also I would want to take a break and pursue a master's in research from University of Amsterdam, which I definitely plan to do because of the kind of exposure, the kind of work that they are doing is extremely important right now. They're analyzing the kind of effects which social media use has on people. Because if we do not understand these effects, we might actually it might harm us a lot, right? So we need to understand what kind of effects it's having on people. For example, recently University of Amsterdam, the kind of research they are doing that in your internet search results, when you type gender neutral pronouns, like आप लिखते हो person या human, सबसे ज्यादा जो results दिखाता है वो male dominated results दिखाता है, right? Suppose a person is looking, is doing a job inquiry over there, and you're writing pronouns like human or person, the kind of results that they show are all male dominated. So think about how it's going to affect job recruiters. They're going to end up recruiting more men than women. So there are algorithms, there's artificial intelligence which is involved here, and because your algorithms, your AI algorithms are picking up on data which is from the people, which is coming from the people, and these gender biases are embedded within that data. So the algorithms are picking up information from that data itself. So that is affecting how we interact with social media, how and what kind of information we are getting out of social media. So this is something which is becoming very, very interesting, and these are some pioneers in communication research as of now. Move on. So particularly in my thesis right now, I'm examining, I think you all are aware of stand-up comedy. How many of you have watched at least one stand-up comedy in your life? Wow, this is a splendid response. This makes my work important and good because that was my motivation to pick up stand-up comedies for my research, because I knew that this is something which is very, very popular right now. It is something which is a part of contemporary culture. As of now, it's connecting. So because of that, I knew that if I take stand-up comedies as a topic for research, it's going to be very, very interesting and it's going to have a lot of long-term effects. So I wanted to study the kind of problems which are there in the area of stand-up comedy in our country as of now. So I realized that there are more male stand-up comedians than women. Okay, I attended some offline comedies myself. I conducted some interviews, some unstructured interviews with a lot of comedy goers, And I realized that female comedians are far less than than male comedians. Also, I think many female faculty over here might agree that women end up going less to these offline stand-up comedy venues, right? Because I think it's also because of the kind of freedom women have. Women, when they go to these stand-up shows, they mostly go with their husbands or their partners, but they hardly ever go independent, and that's a big thing because of that reason, more men end up going to these stand-up shows. So that was my motivation: take women, female stand-up comedians, and female audiences in my study. So I analyzed what kind of effects do these female stand-up comedies have on female audience. Do they even like them or not? And can we use female stand-up comedies to make women more empowered, to give them a sense of more freedom, or the kind of issues which women talk about in their comedy? Can we make it more? Can those issues strengthen women and make them feel relatable with those experiences that they share in their own life, that they experience in their own lives? So now that is what it is about. I had conducted a social media research. My research was completely focused on youth. So I had to do a comments analysis of youth, right? It was a very long analysis because I studied 2,114 comments on YouTube. And this was out of 14 different stand-up performances. It was a huge deal because it took a lot of time. It took a lot of focus because I had to extract a lot of data from that huge collection of comments. So this is a very small glimpse of social media research. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it, right? And one, right. So speaking of this, I'd like to talk about a few very interesting things which are happening, in around the world. Like, for example, in the Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society at Harvard University, they are exploring the ethical and human rights, the societal impact of digital identity in times of crisis. So, because today we are actively portraying and putting out our digital identity to the world, it's very important that what kind of effect our digital identities have in times of crisis. For example, disasters, there is a huge role that Twitter plays, that social media plays, because people are, they are commenting on that, they are tweeting there that I'm in social place and I'm, stuck in this problem. And it's on social media platforms where you get, you get responses of relief, right? You come to know what to do, where to go, how to save yourself. So, in times of crisis, your digital identities are very, very important. Okay, this is the kind of work which is happening around the world. Okay, now coming on to skills which you need. Now I am in academia. I'm teaching right now, and I wish to strengthen and grow my research career from here on. So if you want to go in academia, and I think the faculty here would completely relate, because it's all about teaching after all. It's about communicating what you know in the simplest way possible, because it's not about what you know really, it's about how well you communicate it. Because who is important in that interaction is the students. If they don't understand what you are communicating to them, then you are lost. It's a lost battle. So first of all, you need to be very, very patient, right? You need to be very patient. You need to have research is a very long process, right? It takes a lot of effort and a lot of focus to come up with certain results. But when those results come out, people take a lot of pleasure in reading them. People are very excited about reading those results. But you must understand that there's a lot of pain and a lot of time which goes into researching, goes into extracting data from different sources and then analyzing it with various tools, whether they are quantitative or qualitative tools. You need to have a very curious and question mind. Like, I was always somebody who asked questions, who was somebody who I was quiet as a child, but I was always observant. So I always had questions about everything around me, and that made me somebody who wanted to know, who wanted to find out, and the eagerness to find out things made me a researcher. So you need to have a passion for learning. That's very important, because as a in academia, you can never stop learning. There will always be new things which you don't know about. So you have to be patient, you have to be very passionate for learning. And of course, you need to have very good writing and communication skills. Right? Move on. Right. So in my timeline of work so far, like you would probably wonder, okay, शुरू कैसे हुआ ये journey? Like how did it all start? So in ITL, like I said, I was always into presentations and debates, and this is something which always it was there in me, and it was just something I needed to hear. It was a part of me, but I needed to understand that this is something I should put forward, right? And I was also the school editor while I was a part of the student council over here. Then moving on to my bachelor's, I did internships in NDTV, in Grey Matters Communications, in HT Media, and even there I was doing a lot of writing. So of course it made me grow as a writer, as a communicator. In my master's, I was working in spam communication as a copywriter. Then in Densu Web Chutney also in online reputation management and copywriting. Then in my job experiences, I was working as a copywriter again in contract advertising, culinary communication. And in my PhD, I did a research project, a national research project. Now it was very exciting, of course, because it was all about doing interesting research and then communication findings. So we were working on multilingualism. Anybody knows what multilingualism is? Yeah. Yes. Not sure. Yeah. So do you know what is a person called who knows many languages? Yeah. Yeah. Also polyglot. Have you heard that word? Yes. So basically, in this project, we had to. There are a lot of different languages in India, right? हर क्षेत्र से हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में अलग अलग भाषाएं हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में बदल जाती, टैलेंट्स आ जाते हैं. तो हमारे देश में इतनी सारी भाषाएं हैं, राइट? नाउ इन स्कॉटलैंड, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ हाइलैंड्स एंड आइलैंड्स स्कॉटलैंड, देयर एक बहुत ही छोटे से एक आइलैंड में वहां पर एक यूनिवर्सिटी है. वहां पर एक भाषा है गैलिक लैंग्वेज, ठीक है, स्कॉटलैंड की. वो भाषा खत्म हो रही है. खत्म का मतलब है कि वहां पे जो लोग उस भाषा को बोलते हैं वो कम बोलना, उसकी मात्रा कम हो रही है. द नंबर ऑफ पीपल हु स्पीक दैट लैंग्वेज आर डिक्रीजिंग. हाउ इज दैट हैपनिंग? बिकॉज people are moving on to English, right? The popularity of English is increasing there. So the youth is now gravitating towards more popular languages and leaving, their own native language. तो वहां से ये प्रोजेक्ट शुरू हुआ and उन्होंने they collaborated with Amity University, and then I was a part of the project. So I was the project associate in this particular project, and we created a website called www.creatingmultilingualism.com, and वहां पे हमने कम से कम 400 जितनी भी इंडेंजर्ड लैंग्वेजेस है इंडिया में, उन सबको हमने कैटलॉग किया वहां पर, उन सबके डिस्क्रिप्शंस दिए, उन सबके नाम दिए, और ये हमने खुद, राइट? तो हमारी वेबसाइट पे आप जाओगे, ऑल ऑफ दीज लैंग्वेज यू विल व्हाट दे आर, कहाँ से लैंग्वेजेस आती है, कितने लोग उनको बोलते हैं, राइट? So we created a very important resource for anybody who wants to know about endangered languages. Yeah. So now talking about my thesis. Now I finished my thesis in 3.5 years. Of course, मुझे बहुत काम करना पड़ा because मुझे I wanted to move forward. I wanted to work faster. But now I'm on the verge of my submission. So I think that is very interesting. That's very exciting for me. But of course, the research journey will continue. And next. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me. So anybody who wants to know about social media analysis, social media research, or anything to do with academia, would like to become a professor one day, yeah. So I have got a lot of copyright out but or practice or writing. what did you say? Lucrative or practical? Or practical because there's a lot of competition. No, it's absolutely lucrative because I think जब हम कोई अच्छी ad देखते हैं, right? Digital या TV पे हम excite हो जाते हैं, you know. It's a very good ad. We wonder कि यार कहाँ से आई है ये ad? कौन सी agency ने? And that's what is interesting to find out कि ये ad किस ad agency ने बनाई है, right? And you know, I tell you from my own experience, it takes a lot of work. It's not easy to come up with creative ideas. You have to make people laugh. You have to get their attention. Ad you know, बस कुछ 10 सेकंड 5 सेकंड 5 से 10 सेकंड खत्म हो जाते हैं एक के बाद नहीं काट सकते. You have to get the attention of your audience. You have to appeal to them because if they miss it, the product is missed, the service is missed. जो आप बेच रहे हो आप बता रहे हो तो क्या है. So it is a lot of hard work. कि आप it's actually possible. It's not even hard work because creativity में you have to be very cool. You have to be very calm, right? You don't have to be in a lot of pressure. You have to be possible. You have to understand that it will take time. 2 दिन लग सकते हैं आइडिया आने में पर अपने आप को टाइम देना पड़ेगा एंड यू हैव टू जस्ट रिलैक्स पढ़ो जितना पढ़ सकते हो बातें करो लोगों से. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू बी कम्युनिकेटिव बिकॉज जो कम्युनिकेशन हम करते हैं इन एडवर्टाइज वो लोगों की लाइफ से निकल कर आते हैं. यू हैव टू अल्टीमेटली रिलेट टू पीपल, राइट? सो टॉक टू एज मेनी पीपल एज पॉसिबल. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड what